Chapter 451. He paused. Then continued, and that little girl. I want to take her away to be my maid. Suhwali smiled gently. Your fellow disciples would certainly be willing to help the young prince with this favor, he said. Suddenly, Suhwali sensed something, and the gentle smile disappeared from his face. A dark shadow appeared behind the young prince. It was the hidden shadow guard true person. Clang, clang, clang. The sound of 6 black armored blood guards drawing their horse-slaying sabers was perfectly synchronized. Above the high surrounding walls of the city lord's mansion, a figure wearing a golden mask and wrapped in a black robe stood quietly atop it, the wind and rain tilting around him, yet he seemed to merge with heaven and earth. Hunting God Pavilion. The shadow guard true person was entirely shrouded in black mist. A faint voice floated out. The other was also a divine element true person, so his tone was indifferent but carried a hint of seriousness. Shwetufu agreed to the assassination mission before his death. Shall we continue? Huang Zilong spoke indifferently. He was prepared to kill Li Che. Before dying, he wanted to confirm the mission posted by the other party, which also added some performance to the now financially strapped Golden Light Prefecture's Hunting God Pavilion. Ji Haihui, the young prince, was stunned. He immediately thought of the mission he had asked Shwetufu to post. The mission was for the assassins of the Hunting God Pavilion to kill Xixi's parents. Because of Shwetufu's death and the threats from the underworld's forces, he had almost forgotten about it. He didn't expect that the Hunting God Pavilion, which had its base flattened, would actually come knocking. The shadow guard true person did not answer but looked towards Ji Haihui, the young prince, to confirm that the other was not there to assassinate the young prince. Once the shadow guard true person had eased his mind, Ji Haihui paused for a moment, then, like a violent killing intent mirrored in his purple irises, he said, "Kill. It must be done." His face temporarily turned fierce, as if venting all the repression and suffocation faced from the threats of the underworld in recent days. Good. Assassinate Li Che, 10-7 Yuan Divinity Crystals. Assassinate Zhang Yue, 1-7 Yuan Divinity Crystal. Pay now. I will take action myself. Huang Zilong spoke calmly, his eyes deep and serene behind the golden mask. The shadow guard true person looked at Huang Zilong in surprise and could not help but want to laugh. The Hunting God Pavilion was indeed desperate. After their base was leveled by the underworld, and without any trace of the underworld found, now even divine element true person level assassins had to take on missions personally. This was indeed the most miserable branch of the Hunting God Pavilion that the shadow guard true person had ever seen. However, Ji Haihui did not hesitate much and turned to look at Suhwali. Elder brother, make the payment. Suhwali's mouth twitched. Young prince, Li Che and his wife are not worth this price. Hunting God Pavilion offered a slaughterhouse rate. They purely wanted to dig performance from their bodies. If you can kill, it's worth it. Ji Haihui seriously said. Hearing this, Suhwali didn't say anything else. It was not that he was heartbroken over the 7 Yuan Divinity Crystals. For the young prince's net worth, this was nothing. He just felt it was not worth it. If it were to kill the divine child Li Nuangzai, he would have given it without a second word. But to kill Li Nuangzai's parents? What use would it be? Suhwali understood that Ji Haihui had taken an interest in Li Nuangzai, wanting to take Li Nuangzai away as a maid, intending to conquer this little girl. A single defeat had born a child's desire for victory, wishing to suppress this girl for a lifetime. He shook his head. In this regard, he was somewhat like the domineering brutality of the Dragon God clan. Like the Dragon Queen consort. He flicked his finger, and 11-7 Yuan Divinity Crystals instantly shot toward Huang Zilong. After Huang Zilong took them, he didn't even look at them as he stored them into the Qunkan Jade. Good. Wait for the message from this seat. His words concluded. Huang Zilong then transformed, as if merging into the air and disappearing without a trace. The shadow guard true person narrowed his eyes. The secretive aura of the Hunting God Pavilion's divine secret technique, truly remarkable. The great river flowed endlessly. The surging river water clashing against each other, splashing waves, roaring continuously. The 9 Dragons River stretched for thousands of miles, spreading along the Golden Light Prefecture, irrigating millions of acres. The river water surged continuously, warm and scalding as if the riverbed was filled with countless hot charcoals burning, causing the water to continuously churn. The majestic divinity along with the exploding river water permeated into the air, as if an apprentice wished to break free, roaring towards heaven and earth. The entire Nine Dragons River seemed in perpetual unrest. Torrential rain flew, continuous beads of rain lashing down. Heaven and earth blurred, veiled in mist and rain. Along the riverbank, an official road was carved out, its surface washed muddy by the rainwater. On the uneven, muddy official road, however, there was a carriage convoy speeding along. The hub smashed down, accompanied by a booming sound, splashing grey-brown mud several feet high. The speed of the convoy was very fast, the horses pulling the carriages were not ordinary horses, but demon horses with the bloodline of beasts, capable of braving the wind and rain, covering 1,000 miles a day, as fast as lightning. This was a convoy coming from Dao City. Suddenly, from inside the carriage, a burly figure tore through the wind and rain, landing on the top of the carriage. Dressed in the dispatch uniform of the Dao City Temple Administration Office, it outlined the explosive flesh beneath, with surging blood and energy, fluttering like flags in motion. The rain had not yet fallen, and it exploded around him. This man was Zhu Chaoyang, a great Grandmaster Supervisor dispatched by the Dao City Temple Administration Office. This man had condensed 18 divine gangs, each divine gang capable of tempering 10 human body orifices, meaning he had penetrated 180 Zhou heavenly orifices. Within the divine force realm, he had already walked half the journey. Zhu Chaoyang was in charge of accompanying an elder from the Qianyuan divine sect who was transporting the 4 royal divine weapons to Golden Light Prefecture City, to open the strange key of the 4 royal mysterious temples within that city and participate in the Temple God Resonance Conference. Chapter 452. Blood Qi roared and shattered the raindrops. Zhu Chaoyang's eyes, like tangible blades, cut through the misty rain and stared directly at the raging river. In the haze, it seemed as if he could see the shadow of a Jiaolong roaming and tumbling in the river. A Jiaolong emerges from the deep river. The grand upheaval of the 8-armed prison lotus wrathful third prince's mysterious temple seems about to begin. With brilliant light shining in his eyes, Zhu Chaoyang stood with his hands behind his back, watching the Jiaolong that stirred up countless rivers with a flick of its tail as it quickly swam away. With one step, he moved from the roof of the carriage back inside. Inside the carriage, a child around 5 years old, with hair tied up in a top knot and wearing a red belly band, sat cross-legged with a flame god spear resting on his legs, as if he were sitting within flames. His cheeks puffed out, with flames darting in and out of his nostrils as if devouring fire. "Little iron brat, you've come all the way from the divine capital to Qianyuan Taoist city. The governor's office has agreed to let you attend this Temple God Resonance Convention, you better not come back empty-handed. Otherwise, it will be the face of our Dao City Temple Administration Governor that you'll be losing." Zhu Chaoyang leaned against the carriage wall, arms crossed, and watched the fire-eating child with an involuntary laugh. The little kid opened his eyes, which held a rebellious light. He gave Zhu Chaoyang a glare. Opening his mouth, he spat out a flame towards Zhu Chaoyang. Zhu Chaoyang's face darkened as he clenched his hand and put out the flame with a slap. "Rascal," he said, annoyed. "Blah blah blah." The child stuck out his tongue in a defiant and unruly manner. "Don't call me rascal, don't call me little iron brat. I have a name. My name is Tai Shankei. Kintian Observatory, within a solitary workshop." Li Che gripped the divine weapon blade with his fingers, patiently polishing the fire god's furious jiao wood as sparks flew in all directions. 6 crimson cannon barrels were intertwined. On each barrel, Li Che used his blood qi and divinity to carve the mechanism seal do to enhance the firing mechanism for a greater release of the cannonball's explosive power. Besides the organ cannon, Li Che also placed 3 avalanche ravens, each significantly larger than the spirit wood raven and connected in a chain. Once the fire god's furious jiao organ cannon was activated and began to spin at high speed, it would rapidly load and fire the cannonballs from the chain. In the span of one breath, it could make 100 rotations, firing off hundreds of avalanche ravens. The fire god's furious jiao organ cannon was essentially an enhanced version of the immortal artisan Gatling. Both were designed as revolving cannons. On the avalanche ravens, Li Che was carefully inscribing another mechanism seal, the Bing character. Li Che couldn't inscribe 2 different mechanism seals on the fire god organ cannon at the same time. He had tried it before, and they tended to repel each other, reducing the effect. Li Che had consulted Old Tang, who said that mastering the combination of 9 organ seals was an untransmitted secret technique of the Tang clan's mechanism. He was unable to solve this problem since being incorporated into the imperial court had broken the lineage. The proper use and combination of the 9 seals was the core mystery of the Tang clan's peerless mechanical beasts. This had been a long-standing issue for him as well. Hearing this, Li Che felt a sense of regret but didn't dwell on it too much, thinking perhaps he might get a chance to learn more about it in the future. Perhaps once he mastered the 9 seals, he might have an epiphany. Bare-chested and drenched in sweat, Li Che's muscles stood out like roaring jiaolongs, his formidable power surging out as he grasped the freshly polished, incredibly heavy fire god's furious jiao organ cannon. It was heavy, his first impression. But he could feel an extremely terrifying destructive power within the cannon. Thanks to the improved propulsion and the immortal artisan Gatling's enhanced burst capability, plus the 50 divine chess pieces encapsulated in each avalanche raven cannonball, Li Che felt that even a great grandmaster could be suppressed by its firepower. As for the divine element true person, Li Che's eyes sparked. Testing it out will be the only way to know. He gently caressed the celestial fire god's furious jiao organ cannon, feeling the power and heat waves within. The corners of Li Che's mouth lifted slightly. The next moment, with the thought, the fairy in the painting Dao fruit trembled. Then, the immaculate heart drawing paper floated out, beginning to continuously replicate the avalanche ravens. After spending about 70% of his divinity and blood chi, Li Che finally replicated 1,000 avalanche ravens. The consumption of divinity and blood chi made Li Che let out a slight breath. He took out a martial arts pill, crushed the pill coating, and greedily devoured its power to replenish his blood chi. With his current furnace physique, ordinary 8 extremes martial pills could only be used for restoring blood chi and no longer had any body refining effect. A dot fell on his forehead. The heaven and earth chessboard expanded. Li Che immediately located the pavilion master of the hunting god pavilion outside the Kintian observatory, filled with a murderous intent so dense it almost turned into black water. The dark, viscous murderous thoughts made Li Che's eyes frosty and cold. So eager to kill me, and even went to the city lord's mansion. Huang Zilong was watching Li Che. But Li Che was also keeping an eye on him. With the level 3 chess saint's Dao fruit activated, taking on the northern dipper chess saint form, he could look down from above and lock onto Huang Zilong's every move. He directly switched to northern dipper mode, effectively opening the heavenly eye. So when Huang Zilong visited the city lord's mansion, Li Che guessed his intentions. He was likely planning to take on the assassination mission issued by the young prince again. Since Huang Zilong wanted him dead. Naturally, Li Che. Chapter 453. He wouldn't just wait to be killed. He must strike first to gain the upper hand. After a moment of contemplation, stepping outside the door, he looked at the rainstorm raging outside the building. The torrential downpour made the world hazy, and the intense murderous intent hidden within became less noticeable. Li Che thought for a while. He took out the divine communication mirror replicated from the fruit of the heavenly Dao from within the painting. He sent a message to Li Qingshan. Are you there? A warm-up before great wealth, get ready. Hunting the divine primordial. Zhenglei Peak. Li Qingshan was in the courtyard, his body steaming with energy as he tempered his physique, the 6 chi blood flood dragons writhing and roaring. The Grandmaster True Intent Ultimate Study, 8 flood dragons overturning the rivers, he had cultivated it to the 6 jiao level. Boom! The 6 chi blood jiaashe, rolling and spreading within the courtyard, created a violent storm, shredding the rain with the tremendous true chi contained within the chi blood flood dragons. It was as if there was a real jiao long's breath, wanting to overturn the great river. Roar! A roar spread fiercely, countless raindrops and roof tiles were impacted by the chi, shooting into the clouds. Thump, thump, thump. Then, with the roar of a jiaolong, they burst open. Li Qingshan clenched his 5 fingers into a fist as if a jiaolong were leaping out of the river, with the phantom vibrating. Ha 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 ha! Success! This old man has succeeded. Li Qingshan, wrapped in the true intent of jiaolong, laughed heartily. In the realm of 6 jiaos, he drew on true intent to temper his internal organs, and an extremely sharp gang qi began to spread from within his organs. Dominant and heavy. This was his gang qi, the true intent of 8 flood dragons overturning the river's condensed gang qi, and its style was dominant and heavy. Although there was only a wisp of gang qi, it meant that Li Qingshan was only a layer away from reaching the great Grandmaster realm. Having immersed himself in the martial path for so many years, he finally had the chance to touch the great Grandmaster level. However, my gang qi is too weak, and I haven't yet condensed my martial Dao will, nor have I merged the Gang Chi with the martial Dao will to form Divine Gang. Li Qingshan exhaled deeply. Just as he was rejoicing, his facial expression subtly shifted. He took out the Divine Communication Mirror. But he saw a message pop up on the mirror. Wow, so soon there's action. A warm-up before great wealth, a warm-up, hey. Hey. Hunting the Divine Primordial. You're calling hunting the Divine Primordial a warm-up? Li Qingshan was stunned. Wait, they're going to make a move on the Divine Element True Person so soon? Are they going to take direct action against the young prince? No, that's not right. Li Qingshan felt something was off. If they were really going to make a move on the Shadow Guard True Person, it shouldn't be just a warm-up. Are there other Divine Element True Persons within the Golden Light Prefecture? Wang Kuyu? Lu Yao? Hey? The fleeing pavilion master of the Hunting God Pavilion. Li Qingshan's eyes shifted. Then he gritted his teeth. If he was going to join the underworld, he ought to have a sense of participation in every battle. Otherwise, how could he dare to call himself the underworld cat face in front of others? From his sleeve, the ramhorn hammer slid down. He replied to Grandpa Bull Demon with the Divine Communication Mirror. Wait for me. Li Qingshan, with the cat face mask on, rushed down the mountain in haste. Wait. Of course, there would be no waiting now. After all, opportunities come and go in an instant and wait for no one. However, Li Che didn't immediately act. He sat cross-legged. With eyes closed, the heaven and earth chessboard in his mind expanded like a net. A Divine Element True Person. Harder to deal with than a great Grandmaster. Therefore, Li Che needed to be fully prepared. He must not act rashly, everything must be pursued with steadiness. The Pavilion Master of the Hunting God Pavilion was set on killing him, that much was certain. Imminent danger surged. Moreover, the Pavilion Master of the Hunting God Pavilion wanted to kill not just him, but also Zhang Yi. He had taken on a mission to kill Xixi's parents. So, it was a matter of life and death and vengeance. It was time for Li Che to take action. His eyes opened. The plan to hunt the Divine Primordial was already outlined in his mind. He stood up. Li Che swept his sleeve, and a painting of the fairy in the painting floated out, and a duplicate of Li Che slowly walked out of it. With a gentle smile and nodding towards his true self, Li Che acknowledged his own existence. Li Che clenched his fingers into a fist. The thunder chess piece was immediately grasped in the palm of his hand. And his entire being returned to the small courtyard in Falling Flower Alley. Soul capturing. Li Che's fingers curled like hooks, fiercely clenching. In front of him, grey streams of air tumbled and condensed into the likeness of Xuetufu before his arm was severed. Li Che tossed the crescent blade divine weapon to Xuetufu, who hung it at his waist like a chopping knife. Although Xuetufu could only exert 70% of his strength, a great grandmaster with 70% ability is still a great grandmaster. My lord! With the blade at his waist, Xuetufu's eyes gleamed with a few extra hints of brightness. Li Che took a piece of spiritual wood, his pointed fingers coming together as if blades were moving across it, carving out a fierce-looking bull mask. Thinking of the corpse god corpse god envoy, Li Che pressed his index finger onto the bull mask, lightly drawing a one. Mask, Niu Yi. He tossed the mask to Xuetufu. Xuetufu immediately put it on. Under the command of the bull demon, Demon General Niu Yi. Li Che smiled lightly. He looked forward to the day when he could create an entire bull demon army. With a grab of his fingers, a charming cute bull mask was immediately placed over his face. In an instant, the mask melded with the face, and his demeanor changed drastically. Cold, ferocious, and unrestrained emotions surged and swirled forth. Divine element true person? Intending to kill me and Zhang Yi. Must also die. Whirl. The door was pushed open, and the black robe billowed, his sleeves flying wildly. The deep red, 2-meter-long red cannon barrel, held aloft, the weighty immortal work Barret the celestial fire god cannon was lifted by the bull demon's arm, veined like a dragon's. Rainwater hitting the red-hot barrels instantly evaporated with a hiss, rising up as steam. The dragon elephant Vajradeo fruit throbbed. The aura of the bull demon vanished in an instant, along with the silent Niu Yi, Xuetufu, who followed behind him. After the bull demon and Niu Yi left the house, the fairy in the painting's doppelganger, Horseface, leapt spiritedly from the courtyard, hurtling against the wind and rain, dashing toward the other end of Mansion City. Seeking the perfect sniping angle. Li Che had recently developed bullets engraved with the character soldier, high transparency sniping fire god Bodhi bullets, which Horseface took out and inserted into the upgraded version of Immortal Artisan Barrett. Blazing hot, the bullet immediately began to burn along Barrett's narrow barrel. Atop a high building. Horseface landed. Set up the sniper rifle. Aim. Li Che also used the Dao fruit of the fairy in the painting to duplicate the divine monkey. In essence, the divine monkey was also a clone of Li Che, but one replicated by the fairy in the painting was weak, probably less than 1/10 the strength of Li Che's true self, and consumed a huge amount of life force and divinity. For this assassination plan, the gain was not worth the cost. Therefore, Li Che did not replicate the divine monkey with its true power, only a facade. Just a deterrent was enough. Similar to the Horseface doppelganger, it only needed to set up and shoot. If the recoil blasted it apart, then so be it. Whereas, the divine monkey clone didn't need to act, simply being a scarecrow was enough. After all, the underworld divine monkey was capable of killing the great Grandmaster Xuedufu. The divine monkey simply had to stand there holding the tiger leopard thunder sound splitting golden spear to deter the enemy. All was ready. Amidst the storm, the bull demon running wildly lifted his cheeks. The exceedingly adorable cute bull mask, under the pattering rain, appeared even more endearing. Divine primordial true person. Your grandpa bull demon is coming. Kintian Observatory, Cliff's Edge Treasure Tower. Wind and rain roared like columns, clouds churned ominously in the sky. Che, you're back. Shang Guanqinghong sat on a chair, and when she saw Li Che coming down the stairs, she greeted him with a smile. The fairy in the painting's doppelganger Li Che also casually greeted her, exchanged a few pleasantries. Then opened an oil paper umbrella, his ink-colored clothes billowing in the wind and rain. He walked unheeded into the storm. With each step, rain splashed up, droplets bursting unrestrainedly. Li Che left the Kintian Observatory. In the misty rain. Atop a high building. A figure poised like a spear. Huang Zilong, wearing a golden mask, seemed to merge with the heaven and earth, exerting the divine sex breath concealment secret technique to its utmost. His eyes, calm, observed the ink-robed youth stepping out of the Kintian Observatory, holding an oil paper umbrella. In his view, this youth was already a dead man. Chapter 454. Crack crack. The storm raged with rain, wind, thunder, and lightning. Rumbling thunder rolled in from afar, converging into raindrops lashing against the Golden Light Prefecture city. Shang Guanqinghong crouched on a chair, looking out at the suddenly blurry torrential rain and the misty world shrouded in rising steam, inevitably letting out a sigh. What a fierce storm! Shang Guanqinghong murmured softly to herself. She intended to stop Li Che, suggesting he wait for the storm to subside before proceeding. But Li Che, holding up an oil paper umbrella, with his ink-colored robes fluttering, charged straight into the tempestuous storm. It was as if he wanted to challenge the heavens and earth to a battle. Atop the pavilion, Liu Yao and the chief supervisor were enjoying tea and playing chess, while Lin Qiu stood quietly by their side, silently watching. From the eaves fell a curtain of water droplets, ceaselessly plunging down. Beneath the pavilion, Li Che's wood carving echoed, umbrella in hand, unmoved by the violent raindrops pelting the surface of his umbrella, causing it to tremble and burst forth with sprays of rain powder. The haze continued without pause. Suddenly, all the rain between heaven and earth seemed to cease in an instant. An oppressive force brought the world to a sudden and deathly silence. Rolling and crushing, countless raindrops exploded into mist, subsequently transforming into a hazy fog. A round of dazzlingly brilliant golden light. In an instant, it tore through the darkness brought on by the deluge. That was a golden core. A divine primordial golden elixir. The wood carving stands in the rain curtain, feeling an overwhelming force press down upon him in an instant, the umbrella in his hand instantly twisted and deformed by the oppressive force. His body weakened, his face paling, he coughed up a large mouthful of fresh blood. His toes touched the ground, splashing droplets, as he retreated in frenzy. The wood carving, possessing only the mysterious vein and the primary god base realm cultivation, was naturally utterly powerless to resist the dreadful divine primordial pressure that seemed to shake the very heavens and earth. A divine primordial golden elixir. High above in the tall building, Huang Zilong's toes landed on the tip of the pavilion. He was like a sharp spear that threatened to pierce through the heavens and earth. Clad in black, his golden mask faced the wind and rain, unbothered. His eyes were deep, great divinity spreading and shining magnificently from all around him, a divine primordial golden elixir rising from behind him. To kill a Suanmei warrior, a wood-carving master whose nurturing nature barely reached the initial realm of divine foundation. Huang Zilong felt it would undoubtedly be easy to capture. Like thunder, he could slap to death with just one palm. Bang! His indifferent gaze swept over Li Che, who touched the surface water with his toes, sending up a string of splashes as he tried to escape toward the Kintian observatory. Escape? Can you escape? Huang Zilong didn't even need to step forward. With the grasp of his 5 fingers, countless water vapors were condensed in the palm of his hand, and his mighty primordial spirit vibrated vividly, sending ripples spreading out like waves. The numerous tempestuous raindrops falling from the sky all seemed to freeze in place. The world around them shook, and the aura leaking from the divine primordial golden pill behind him seemed to resonate with heaven and earth. In an instant, he crossed 100 jong. As if the grains of raindrops gathered together, forming an extremely sharp sword. Huang Zilong stood with his hands behind his back, his eyes cold and emotionless, and his fingers flicked. In the world around, there was actually the sound of a sword singing, as countless boiling divinity almost erupted like a volcano. The strong primordial spirit, merged with the divinity of the divine element true person's golden pill, and in an instant, the sword light became as solid as reality, twisting and roaring like a dragon. With a posture vowing to kill, it split the seemingly frozen curtain of rain in two. Pulling searing air waves, it covered more than 100 jong in an instant. Aiming to loop around the neck and directly behead Li Che. However, what Huang Zilong thought was a sure strike suddenly exploded. An extravagantly brilliant golden light, carrying a roar like an angry dragon, burst forth from between heaven and earth, as if anticipating the move, and instantly pierced through his sword strike aiming for Li Che. Boom! A powerful and scorching hot force burst forth instantly, clashing with the rain sword and setting off splendid sparks. The powerful shockwaves turned into exploding ripples, scattering in all directions, and swept the curtain of rain clean. The body of Li Che's fairy in the painting clone seemed to be struck by a heavy hammer, uncontrollably propelled backward by the blast. However, before crashing to the ground, it was caught by a tremendous force of divinity, like a gently falling leaf, and was steadily held in place. Liu Yao's face was cold, his white robes fluttered, and divinity burst forth from his palm, catching Li Che's form. Hunting God Pavilion. A murderous intent surged in Liu Yao's eyes. He was very optimistic about Li Che's wood-carving talent, whom he had planned to bring to Dao City to become the foundation of his strength. To think his own talent was being brazenly assassinated right at the doorstep of Kintian Observatory. The one with the golden mask, undoubtedly, was the pavilion master of the Hunting God Pavilion branch in Golden Light Prefecture City. To kill a Suanmei warrior whose cultivation was at the primary god base realm, like Li Che. They actually sent out a pavilion master who was at the divine element true person level. Hunting God Pavilion, is truly shameless. Liu Yao cursed coldly. He suddenly flicked his sleeve, and countless traces of divinity in the world were mobilized, forming an extremely thick invisible wall in front of him, blocking the exploding moisture and shockwaves from the explosion. If it weren't for that streak of fire that fell from the sky and shattered Huang Zilong's controlled rain sword, Li Che would have been nothing but a cold corpse now. A divine element true person is different from a great grand master. A divine element true person's primordial spirit is vast, containing a divine golden pill, resonating with the divinity of the world. Their methods are extraordinary, and abilities such as taking lives from afar are just commonplace for them. Liu Yao's eyebrows furrowed. He stared intently at the scene amidst the pouring rain. Above the high building, the standing Huang Zilong's eyes also slightly shifted. His killing move was actually thwarted. Chapter 455. This sword. Appearing through the air and merging with the pervasive rain, even Liu Yao, a divine primordial true person, could not have detected it initially. To Li Che, it seemed he was certainly doomed. However, an attack came abruptly, hitting precisely the rain sword he had condensed with the 8 Extremes divinity technique. This was an assassination technique personally employed by the master of the Hunting God Pavilion. Unless the opponent was always prepared. Under the golden mask, Huang Zilong's pupil shrank. A trap. This Li Che was just bait. Boom. A howling sound arose from afar, exploding countless raindrops. Yet, before the roaring and howling approached, a silent, stealthy golden light was already nearing. It was a crimson Bodhi bullet. It was fully engraved with intricate patterns, and a brilliantly shining soldier seal, etched upon it, seemed like magma flowing within. Fire God Bodhi bullet. Horse face 1,000-mile soul arrest. Horse face. Under the golden mask, Huang Zilong's killing intent surged. His fingers closed together and suddenly flipped. Instantly, the air around him was sharply compressed, forming layers of air walls. Even the rainwater was frozen and sealed within. However, the sharply elongated fire god Bodhi bullet was like a crimson Jiaolong crawling out of a volcano's mouth. Roaring angrily, carrying the scorching heat that incinerated everything. And the extremely terrifying penetration power. It instantly pierced through the layers of air walls, tearing apart the divine primordial true person's primordial spirit power and his immense divinity. This penetration power. Huang Zilong's eyes narrowed, slightly shocked in his heart. The divine sniper horse face's power had grown stronger. Indistinctly, he even felt threatened. However, Huang Zilong was ultimately a divine primordial true person, and while horse face's sniping power was indeed excellent, strong, and unpredictable. Yet, a divine primordial true person was ultimately not a weakling. Behind him, the Shen Yuan golden elixir revolved, faintly enveloping Huang Zilong in a layer of golden veil. Ding! Immortal work Barrett's fire god Bodhi armor-piercing bullet harshly drilled into the golden veil surrounding Huang Zilong. Invisible ripples spread, waves of fluctuation undulating ceaselessly. Huang Zilong's divinity expanded, his palm fiercely pushed forward, and suddenly, like a huge wave slapping down, he forcefully captured the high-speed spinning fire god Bodhi. Boom! However, the next moment, a snap of fingers resounded between heaven and earth. The fire god Bodhi bullet suddenly swelled, and the divine chess pieces loaded inside began to collide violently, rumbling like an avalanche. Boom boom boom! The terrifying explosion swept through instantly, fire erupted, and the surging, fierce divinity, filled with corrosive power, eroded Huang Zilong's divine power. Malicious! Inside Huang Zilong's Nuan palace, divinity roared, suddenly sweeping over, suppressing the explosion's flames, and his figure also rippled in the torrential rain. His figure dashed through the air, like autumn leaves in a heavy rain. He continuously shifted directions, making it impossible for Horseface to snipe him accurately. Suddenly, Huang Zilong seemed to sense something and looked down. He discovered that at some point, a figure had appeared on the ground. Enveloped in a black robe, he looked up, revealing a fierce bull demon mask, and on the mask, there was also a one mark. When Huang Zilong was greatly alarmed. He had not noticed the arrival of this person at all. With a fierce press of his fingers, divine power converged the raindrops into terrifying sword lights, fiercely plunging towards Niu Yi on the ground. However, the very next moment, Huang Zilong felt intense heat. The masked figure, his muscles and bones stretching, seemed like a fully drawn strong bow suddenly released, with a booming sound of explosion. Blistering hot blood qi surged violently. Though blazing hot, it also carried a corpse-like icy coldness. The air rippled with barely perceptible ripples, such was the shock of the blood qi, that raindrops falling from the sky were pushed far away. Buzz! The divine gang exploded, shooting up in an instant. Fiercely striking at Huang Zilong. The tens of thousands of rain swords that Huang Zilong had pressed downwards, all exploded. The towering black shadow had already stepped on the air currents, ascending to the heavens. A great Grand Master! Such blood qi! Such divine gang! Undoubtedly, he was a flawlessly tempered great Grand Master, both inside and out. A divine primordial true person is indeed stronger than a great Grand Master, and can even be said to surpass a great Grand Master, but the premise is not to let the great Grand Master get close. The physique of a divine primordial true person is far inferior to that of a great Grand Master, unless this divine primordial true person is also a breakthrough at the Great Master realm. Otherwise, once struck severely by a Great Master realm, the impact would be tremendous. To think a Great Grand Master would ambush me. Which other Great Grand Masters are there in Golden Light Prefecture City? Huang Zilong's eyes were grave. However, facing the Great Grand Master Niu Yi who was leaping towards him, he pointed a foot into the void, a majestic divinity burst from the mud pill, and the primordial spirit flickered, like a true god emerging. He formed a seal with his hands. Divine secret technique. Huang Zilong instantly disappeared from his original position, vanished into thin air, and reappeared behind the great Grandmaster Niu Yi. Huang Zilong clenched his fist, and the immensely huge Shen Yuan golden elixir's light flourished immensely behind him, the mighty divine power stirring around his body. He flung his arms open violently. The massive repelling force, like an unstoppable shockwave, violently struck great Grandmaster Niu Yi. Niu Yi raised his arm, fiercely resisting the shockwave, his muscles and bones seemingly crying out in agony. He reached around his waist and grasped a machete, which instantly grew in the wind, turning into a crescent blade. Blood chi entwined around the crescent blade, grasped with one hand, Divine Gang activated, and he fiercely swept across. Chapter 456. He slashed at Huang Zilong behind him. However, this change in his move instantly alerted everyone. Divine Gang crescent blade. Firewood cutter turned butcher's knife. Is this Xuetufu? Great Grandmaster? Xuetufu? Impossible. Absolutely impossible. Huang Zilong's whole body trembled, his eyes flickered, a storm rising in his heart. Xuetufu, wasn't he killed? Could this martial man of spirit wearing a fierce bull demon mask really be Xuetufu? Trickery. In an instant, Huang Zilong's spirit condensed, his eyes brightened, his hands forming a seal formula, divine secret technique reinvigorated. Why is divine element true person superior to great Grandmaster? Because in Huang Zilong's view, divine cultivation stemming from mysterious temple is indeed superior to martial path. Hands forming the seal formula, golden core vibrated, golden intent to kill covered his whole body in an instant, turning into a golden bell. He did not dodge or avoid, he just resisted the wild chopping of a Divine Gang great Grandmaster's blade. Ding! It was as if an ancient bell sealed for eons had been struck. Like thunder exploding, energy waves rolled, violent impacts spreading out like concentric circles in all directions. Countless raindrops were shattered and pushed aside. The pooled water on the ground was also instantly cleared from the area. In the distance, inside Kintian Observatory Treasure Building, Liu Yao protected Li Che, his eyes electrifying, intently watching the sudden outbreak of battle and slaughter in the distance. His eyelids twitched incessantly. Pavilion Master of Hunting God Pavilion. And a great Grandmaster? That great Grandmaster is Xuetufu. This signature crescent blade, who else in the Golden Light Prefecture could possess such skills of a great Grandmaster if not Xuetufu? Supervisor Hu Yingyu also appeared, casually playing an erhu, his eyes also showing a few shades of shock. He glanced at Li Che, who looked pale and was obviously severely injured. You, youngster, are lucky that a divine element true person tried to kill you, and you could still survive, said Hu Yingyu solemnly. Liu Ya reacted quickly, but the sniper shot that burst out of nowhere was even faster. It was Horseface who saved Li Che's life. The underworld surely has a notable relationship with Li Che. Liu Yao snorted coldly, yet he did not intervene. Protecting Li Che was enough for him. The dispute between the underworld and the hunting god pavilion was not a muddy water he wished to wade into. The underworld took action, even deploying a great Grandmaster. Are they planning to hunt down a divine element true person? The techniques of a divine element true person are more mysterious compared to a great Grandmaster, and they can easily soar through the sky and burrow into the earth, their agility far surpassing that of any great Grandmaster. Although his physical body wasn't exploding with power, as a divine element true person who cultivated the Shen Yuan golden elixir, the elixir breathed in and out, scattering golden light, forming a divine origin golden body that was also formidable. The Huang Zilong before him was clearly on the verge of refining a divine origin golden body. And a great Grandmaster had abruptly clashed with the divine element true person. Such fluctuations instantly alarmed powerhouses from all quarters. Inside the city lord's mansion, the shadow guard true person protecting the young prince opened his eyes, his powerful primordial spirit leaping out of his body and roaming the void to observe. On Zhenglei Peak, the Taoist king Ku Yu, who had been meditating, also opened his eyes, his gaze profound. The underworld, still besieging the hunting god pavilion. Crazy. Truly crazy. Heavy force impacted on Huang Zilong's body, his golden robe rippling as if a golden bell shielded his torso. It blocked Niu Yi's full force blow. With a flick of his finger, the air oscillated explosively, countless wind and rain turning into terrifying giant swords sweeping across. Great Grandmaster Niu Yi was swept away by one sword strike. Landing on the ground, his feet dragging long, narrow tracks through the puddles. But the moment he stabilized his body, Niu Yi charged forward again, the crescent blade dragging on the ground, tearing it open. Suddenly swinging it up, as if moonlight were scattering down. As if on the great desert, a lone column of smoke rises. Desert lone smoke blade. Killing move. Lone smoke slash. Desert lone smoke blade. You really are Shuedufu. Huang Zilong's mind was tremendously shaken at this moment, feeling the great killing move, emotions surging in his chest. The golden core trembled, bursting forth with immense divinity, which he channeled with a light flick of his finger, numerous droplets shooting forward, countless beads of rain falling down as innumerable flying swords. The strength of a divine element true person lies in long-range attacks, overwhelming, able to exhaust even a great grandmaster to death. And once the divine primordial of a divine element true person is formed, its divinity is boundless, capable of harnessing the divinity of heaven and earth for its own use. What if Shuedufu were to come alive again? Then he would die yet another time. The golden core behind him trembled. Countless wrath divinities surged out, divinity roaring like a river. After Huang Zilong turned rain into swords with a tap of his finger, he then formed another seal formula. 7 Elements Divine Method. Countless rain swords, like a dragon sucking water, gathered together, erupting from the street, as if even the river's flow were unable to resist roaring and being drawn up. A giant rain sword dragon emerged, roaring, sweeping along, its countless sharp edges crushing and grinding towards Niu Yi. Sealed by divinity, the divine method targeting swiftly attacked. Though it seemed brief, the actual speed was extremely fast. Boom! Terrifying vital energy blazed fiercely, like a fierce sun across the sky. Niu Yi's entire body resonated, gripping the crescent blade with divine gang flowing, slashing the sword energy dragon formed by the gathering rain. 7 Elements Divine Method. The threat was already immense, even a divine element true person would not be able to deploy it many times. The ground continuously exploded with pebbles bursting apart, the shattered stones being torn into dust within the tornado of sword energy. Niu Yi, with his abundant vitality, could only reduce the lethal power contained in this sword energy tornado by continuously swinging his blade. Otherwise, even a great grandmaster, caught within it, would suffer severe injuries. Huang Zilong hovered in the air, racing through the air. Watching the great grandmaster struggle to resist, the corners of his lips beneath the mask curled into a chilly arc. Chapter 457. Suddenly, within the brown Iwan, the primordial spirit's eyes snapped open, a sense of crisis so intense it shook his heart and soul. Intent to kill came surging forth. An overwhelming intent to kill. It pierced straight to the heart. Huang Zilong's eyelids twitched as he couldn't help but look into the distance. 100 yards away, a towering figure like a mountain stood silently, its arms covered in bulging veins, carrying an enormous mechanism. The 6 red-hot cannon barrels, bound together, emitted an intense heat. A severe sense of crisis spread instantly from the primordial spirit through his whole body. Huang Zilong's hair stood on end, every pore raised in alarm. Bull Demon. The true Bull Demon had finally revealed himself. Looking at that face in the storm, hidden behind a cute bull mask, Huang Zilong didn't find it the least bit cute. All he felt was a chill all over his body. But Huang Zilong's gaze was locked on the colossal barrel of the cannon the Bull Demon was carrying. The slim barrel resembled a ferocious beast choosing its prey, baring its fangs. It was like the road to the hell netherworld. What is that? Huang Zilong's eyes narrowed. Because from the cannon the Bull Demon was carrying, a splendid blue light suddenly burst forth. A ghostly blue, like the phantom fires of hell. Without hesitation, he flicked his finger. A resplendent 7-elemental divine weapon appeared in front of him, the sword light layered upon itself, forming a barrier of sword light armor in front of him. Thud 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 thud. Countless streaks of blue light sprayed forth, hot air waves rising fiercely. And then, within the blue light, golden rays connected in lines started to shoot out incessantly from the rotating 6 barrels. The scorching air waves pierced through the rain curtain and mist, roaring towards him. Patterns intertwined on the barrel as the Bull Demon's vital blood surged into it, driving the barrel to spin at high speed. 100 rotations in a single breath. Wrapped around the Bull Demon were chains of avalanche cross-raven bullets, each containing the equivalent of 50 divine chess pieces. Crack 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 crack. The deafening roar erupted from the fire god's furious Jia organ cannon. The Bull Demon, nearly 2.5 meters tall and carrying a cannon platform weighing more than 1,000 pounds, fired abruptly. Bang! 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 Horrible penetration power, dreadful explosive force, terrifying impact. Huang Zilong, floating in mid-air, even before he could make any movements to escape, was struck by the golden light. An explosion erupted instantaneously. The roiling, scalding divine power burst into a frenzied, exploding blaze. The 7 elemental divine weapon he summoned dimmed in divine light, exhausted of divinity, and then was struck, flying sideways into the air and chaotically falling to the ground. Huang Zilong was terrified. His figure streaked and shifted through the air in several quick maneuvers. He fiercely pushed his palms forward, creating an immense air wall of compressed divine energy, as his golden core shuddered, converging into his golden garment and golden body. How could he be unaware of the bull demon's traps? The mechanism that rotated and sprayed flames had been detailed in Huang Zilong's intelligence reports long ago. But this power? It was on a completely different level from what it had been at that moment. Bang! The air wall formed from compressed divine energy instantly exploded, a terrifying blast coming into existence, with fierce light and heat erupting in the explosion. Merely 10 salvos of avalanche cross raven had penetrated the air wall, and the explosive light and force of divinity directly caused Huang Zilong to feel dizzy and disoriented. Then, he felt a horrifically violent force lashing against his body. The golden gauze draped from his golden core clung tightly to his body. Although he had not attained the divine origin golden body, the power involuntarily emanating from his golden core could still enhance his defense. Pain. Pain deep in his bones. As if a great Grand Master was holding him down and continuously pounding him into the ground. Only a breath had passed. And yet, hundreds of hits pummeled his body, the golden light quickly worn to a dim, the explosive divine power swirling violently. Caught midair, Huang Zilong was engulfed by the fireworks of the explosion. It was as if he had returned to that day. The vast watching tide pavilion, swallowed and flattened by a terrifying mushroom cloud explosion. PFF. A mouthful of fresh blood sprayed out, and his golden garment finally could not withstand the continuous firing of the bull demon's fire god cannon. Eventually, it was torn apart. Huang Zilong roared in anger, blood spewing from his mouth, as he suddenly unleashed all his divine power forward in an eruption. Burning blood, divine secret technique. Displacement transformation. His figure flickered several times in midair. And then, he miraculously vanished from the location locked onto by the fire god organ cannon. Many strings of golden gunfire missed his form. Huang Zilong made several long-range flickering jumps, soaring straight up. Faced with the terrifying impact of the bull demon's mechanisms, one had to be ready with top-level defensive 7 elemental divine weapons, or even 6 ministries divine weapons, to withstand it, to have a chance to counter-kill. For a divine element true person suspended in the air, the bull demon's device was too much of a threat. Unless one formed the divine origin golden body, being hit would lead to either death or grave injury. Suddenly, just as he finished flickering and was about to rush up into the sky, entering the clouds to deprive the bull demon of the chance to bombard him, a sudden shock struck Huang Zilong's heart. Rain pattered against his golden mask. He saw a patch of blood cloud emerge above his head. Above the blood cloud, a figure wearing a divine monkey mask and wielding a crimson tiger leopard thunder sound spear looked down at him in jest. GGG. Divine monkey. The divine monkey that could kill a great Grand Master. Huang Zilong's heart skipped a beat, and his upward rushing form suddenly stiffened. Chapter 458. It was all within less than half a breath's time. The blue glow of the fire god cannon spewed forth, bursting out the golden light. It swept across the sky, fiercely and unmistakably striking Huang Zilong's body. Huang Zilong seemed to feel the pain of his limbs exploding. That long-lost fear of death, so instant like a tide, flooded over him. Ah! Silence! Coldness! Rain thundered down from high in the sky, yet it couldn't wash away the dazzling fireworks that had exploded mid-air. The anguished roar of divine element true person pierced through the heart, echoing continuously, resounding throughout the entire mansion city. At that moment, all the cultivators who had been alarmed and watched the battle were bone-chillingly cold, dazed and lost. That was a divine element true person, who had cultivated his divinity to return to the original true self, with a soaring primordial spirit, condensed into a divine golden pill, capable of connecting to the divinity of heaven and earth, of extremely high rank, with overwhelming pressure. Even dozens of cultivators in the divine phase realm, when faced with a divine element true person alone, would be oppressed by his rank to the point of immobility, unable to resist across ranks. Moreover, the abilities of a divine element true person were heaven-reaching, just the sword chi tornado he had previously conjured alone severely suppressed a great Grand Master. His strength and dominance were evident. But such a divine element true person, at this moment, actually let out such a painful howl. Liu Yao, Wang Kuyu, and Shadow Guard true person, the three publicly known divine element true persons of the Golden Light Prefecture, were also shaken to their primordial spirits, feeling a profound threat. Such a mechanism. This kind of mechanism. Liu Yao's heart pounded violently as he watched Huang Zilong, who was hit by the cannon fire and falling through the air, unable to reach the human world. He felt a heavy sink in his heart. The underworld. Who exactly are these divine beings? Liu Yao stared intently at the red-colored cannon carried by the bull demon, which was spitting blue light. At the Kintian Observatory Treasure Building, Tang Sanjia leaned on the railing, his hair and beard flying, his robust body trembling uncontrollably. It had succeeded. Such mechanisms, such mechanical techniques, truly intoxicating. How beautiful the fireworks are! Inside the city lord's mansion, Shadow Guard true person stood silently, his expression grave. Su Huili had already leaped onto the rooftop, gazing into the distance, his body trembling slightly, fear climbing up his limbs. This bull demon, and that great Grand Master, is Xuetufu. Su Huili felt his head was about to explode. Wasn't Xuetufu dead? Why, is he alive again? The underworld. What exactly is their origin? Could it really be possible to pull the dead back from hell, to return them to the human world? Is this still a human worldly power? Behind the underworld, who exactly stands there? Ji Haihui, the young prince, had even greater fear reflected in his purple eyes. Being targeted by such a force. It's really terrifying. The pavilion master of the hunting god pavilion, who had accepted the task, also got killed. The next one. Is it him? He wants to go home. He wants to return to the royal mansion. Li Qingshan gripped the ramhorn hammer, wearing the cat-faced mask. He watched from afar as the divine element true person was bombarded by the cannon and engulfed by countless exploding fireworks. The terrifying explosive force, caused by the explosion, whipped up a frenzied, sweeping wind. Li Qingshan stood alone in the pouring rain. The heavy rain washed over him. Sadness overflowed from his heart. It seemed like it had nothing to do with him again. I'm late again. Didn't we agree to bring me along? Li Qingshan felt somewhat dejected, his cultivation had just made a breakthrough, filling him with confidence and fighting spirit. But witnessing the terrifying rank oppression spreading across heaven and earth from the divine element true person, and the bull demon's blue light spewing mechanism that blew the divine element true person apart in the sky, Li Qingshan softly exhaled a warm breath amid the cold rain and wind. Aged and profound. The underworld decides when you die at the third watch, who dares to keep you until the fifth watch. Our underworld has grown stronger again. Chapter 459. The torrential rain roared as if it were completely drowned out by the explosions in mid-air. Dense smoke billowed and bloomed in the sky, continuously tumbling and boiling, like a black jiaolong charging upstream into the clouds. The rapidly rotating fire god cannon barrel slowly came to a halt, intensely hot and steaming. The rain that struck it was completely evaporated. Li Che had prepared 1,000 avalanche cross ravens, all of which were released in one breath. The fire god's furious Jiao organ cannon, unlike the immortal artisan Gatling, placed a great demand on the operator's blood and qi. With Li Che's furnace grandmaster physique, his blood and qi were extremely powerful. Once compressed and erupted, it was like a volcano bursting, spewing forth from a furnace. After 1,000 avalanche cross ravens were released, he felt as though his blood and qi were almost depleted, and an invisible sense of emptiness surged up from beneath his feet. Indeed, firing this cannon consumed a great deal of blood and qi. Steam rose, and the cannon barrel slowly rotated, carrying countless sparking embers, before gradually coming to a standstill. From the mouth of the cannon barrel, twisted air and hot waves rolled out. The cannon fire ceased its release. Dust and smoke were torn apart by the rain. In the gaze of all who watched, Huang Zilong's breath extinguished, leaving only his body, burnt to a crisp like charred lumber, teetering down from the sky. Steaming, it tore through the curtain of rain. With a splash, it crashed to the ground, blasting the water on the ground into a fountain over 10 feet high. A divine element true person met such a fate. Between heaven and earth, an intensely rich divinity stirred and spread ceaselessly, surging powerfully, like a boulder thrown into a large lake, splashing waves hundreds of feet high. Silence. Only the sound of rain falling remained. In this moment, the entirety of Golden Light Prefecture City fell into quietness. Even the other divine element true persons felt their bodies go numb, enveloped by a great sense of urgency and chill. Liu Yao's eyes burst with dazzling brilliance. The pavilion master of Hunting God Pavilion's golden core had been shattered. The Shen Yuan golden elixir is the foundation of a divine element true person. Condensing divinity into substance, sensing and capturing the will of the true form contained within the divinity, merging it into the golden elixir, causing it to emit a golden light. The golden core's golden light can temper the primordial spirit, ultimately condensing into a divine origin golden body. Of course, divine element true persons also vary in strength. According to the divine gang of a great Grand Master, unity of heaven and man, and the three flowers atop undergoing three transformations, the divine primordial can also be divided into three transformations. These are primordial spirit, golden body, and embryonic breathing, the second transformation. They are the solid path for a divine element true person to transform into a divine fetus great god. However, once the golden core is shattered, that divine element true person is essentially ruined. What kind of firepower must it have been to shatter the proud golden core of a divine element true person, which held the majestic pressure of divine hierarchy? That organ. Liu Yao's gaze was brilliant, sweeping across and falling on the massive fire god organ cannon that Bull Demon grasped. Qintian Observatory also had an organ department, which became even stronger after assimilating Tang family forces, and yet not a single one of their organs could compare to the organ cannon now in Bull Demon's hands. If one really had to make a comparison, perhaps only mechanical beasts of certain ranks would suffice. The downpour was like pillars washing over the earth. Li Che did not hesitate overly much and stowed away the steaming fire god's furious Jiao organ cannon. Afterward, his toes tapped the ground, and his entire body shot up. The rainwater on the ground instantly rippled and exploded outward. The tower-like stalwart body catapulted into the high sky. With a grip of his fingers, the longbow instantly fell into his hands. It was the crimson flame-flowing fire star-shattering divine bow from Wen Longshan. The divine bow in hand, blood and chi surged, the large sinews on his back twanged like ballistic launchers, and his furnace grandmaster physique shook. With a clench of his 5 fingers, he drew the bow to its full extent. True intent surged, as if countless streams of fire fell swiftly from the heavens above. Grandmaster True Intent. Crimson flame-flowing fire star-shattering arrow. The Bull Demon executed the True Intent ultimate study with master-level proficiency at that moment. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. The arrows blazed with an angry radiance, instantly evaporating much of the rainwater, shooting towards Huang Zilong, who had been smashed from the high sky to the ground. Bang, bang, bang. The arrows whistled out, aimed at Huang Zilong's body and exploded, unleashing rolling waves of fire. Lying on the ground, Huang Zilong's body, which looked like charred wood, suddenly trembled. Anger propelled him to shoot up, his strong chi and blood surging wildly. It turned out to be a martial artist in the Grandmaster posterior realm. He roared, punching continuously, his charred skin cracking and flaking away. This Bull Demon is too damn ruthless, hey! His golden core was shot and blasted, and yet he still wants to shoot a few more arrows into his corpse? How could there be such a disgusting existence in this world? Spurt! Crimson flame-flowing fire star-shattering arrows burst forth in rapid succession. Huang Zilong roared, his chi and blood infused, his power that was nearly at the half-step great grandmaster level, pounded viciously at the arrows shot by the Bull Demon. However, the overbearing power contained in the arrows made Huang Zilong's heart sink. Too strong. This Bull Demon must be almost half a step into the great grandmaster realm in martial cultivation, right? Spurt! Huang Zilong roared, his punches sweeping across, yet unable to suppress the radiance of the arrows. Eventually, an arrow pierced through his skull. In less than an instant, the fierce roaring head of Huang Zilong directly exploded, blasting into pieces, shattering apart. The thick, mercury-like blood splattered, then immediately evaporated into a mist of blood by the power contained within the divine arrow. Boom! The divine arrow pierced through his skull, its might unabated, crashed into the ground behind Huang Zilong, blasting a huge deep pit in the ground, the water whirling as if in a vortex. Mud roiled, cracks spread like a web. Everyone was greatly shocked. They marveled at how Huang Zilong was not dead and even harbored a sneaky, treacherous attack. Chapter 460. He was also astonished by the bull demon, who was so steady that even after exploding the opponent's golden core, he still thought about using divine archer methods to blow up Huang Zilong's head. These two were utterly ruthless. Everyone just felt a blur before their eyes. The burly bull demon swiftly darted forward, like a hawk, crossing dozens of meters in an instant, appearing beside the corpse of Huang Zilong whose head had been blown up. Li Che watched indifferently as the corpse of Huang Zilong he had shot. He clenched his 5 fingers and pressed them harshly on the corpse, frantically absorbing the divinity of this divine primordial true person, condensing it into a divine chess piece. On the other side, someone slickly started searching Huang Zilong's body and eventually found the Qunkan jade, contentedly taking it. From crossing dozens of meters to finishing the body search, it took around 5 breaths. After a thoroughly exhilarating harvest, the bull demon stood up, closing his hand into a fist. Suddenly, under the watchful eyes of everyone, he teleported away. Without a sound, only the continued roaring of the purging rain remained. The rich smell of blood and mist formed 1,000 holes pierced by the raindrops. Everyone was silent, watching the bull demon kill, search the body, and depart all in one smooth motion, their minds buzzing. Is this a professional assassin from the underworld? Liu Yao exhaled deeply. Strong as he was, he didn't know when cold sweat had begun oozing out his back. Not because of the bull demon's display of powerful coordinated abilities, but because of that meticulous and linked killing. Being targeted by such an assassin must really be a headache. With this thought, Liu Yao couldn't help but think of the young prince at the city lord's mansion. How arrogant he had been when he first paid homage, and now, how terrified. Additionally, Xue Dufu didn't die. Liu Yao looked toward Xue Dufu, who was being suppressed by the 7 elements divinity technique used by Huang Zilong in the distance. Though he was wearing a mask, the martial arts he deployed revealed Xue Dufu's identity. In the entire Golden Light Prefecture city, the only one who could deploy such crescent blade techniques was Xue Dufu. But Xue Dufu was dead. Was he pulled back from hell by the underworld? And had he joined the underworld? Liu Yao's mind buzzed unceasingly. Well played, underworld, cannot see through, completely incomprehensible. The mournful sound of the erhu played, as Supervisor Hu Yingyu began playing the erhu again. Liu Yao, somewhat helpless, glanced at Hu Yingyu. His head was already buzzing, and now with the addition of the erhu sound, he was almost annoyed to death. Ignoring Hu Yingyu, he looked towards Li Che. Li Che was bloodstained, but he appeared to be in rather good condition. Huang Zilong was a divine primordial true person after all. To Li Che, a divine base cultivator, this was crossing 2 major ranks of suppression. Just the pressure of the rank alone was enough to heavily injure Li Che and cause him to bleed. This was quite normal. If that killing move, Rain Sword, had truly hit, Li Che would have been doomed. Fortunately, Horseface had secretly intervened, saving Li Che. You seem to have a good relationship with the underworld. Liu Yao looked deeply at Li Che as he wiped off the blood and stood up. Li Che, however, did not say much. Liu Yao did not mind and his eyes flickered. If there's a chance, give me a way to contact the underworld. The underworld should also accept tasks, right? The strength of the underworld made even a divine primordial true person like Liu Yao eager. Liu Yao was much stronger than Huang Zilong, belonging to the latter stage of primordial spirit metamorphosis, nearing the golden body transformation, even vaguely forming some aspects of a golden body. Huang Zilong was merely able to stimulate his golden core to sprinkle golden yarn and had just stepped into the mid-stage of primordial spirit metamorphosis. However, thinking from another's perspective, if Liu Yao had to endure the barrage from the bull demon-like mechanisms of fireworks, he probably wouldn't fare much better. The best method was to move extremely fast, creating distance, then use divine methods to bomb the bull demon from afar. Huang Zilong, because he used his divine method on Niu Yi, faced quite a situation against the bull demon, ultimately getting bombed to death. But it was all the bull demon's design. Therefore, Liu Yao found it frightening. The bull demon, and the other vicious beings of the underworld were terrifying. Liu Yao thought it best to establish a good relationship with the underworld. Who doesn't have 1 or 2 enemies? The split persona, Li Che, paused and nodded. However, just at that moment, from a distance, a figure clad in green clothes and wearing a cat face mask approached through the storm. If the underworld says you die at the third watch, who dares keep you till the fifth? Liu Yao and the others all glanced over. Lin Qiu's mouth twitched. Wasn't that Li Qingshan? Li Qingshan arrived gracefully and stood silently amidst the rain. Watching Li Qingshan stand poetically, reciting lines, Lin Qiu was extremely envious. How had he not seized this moment? Additionally, had Li Qingshan really joined the underworld? With a clenched fist, the thunder chess piece was immediately grasped in the palm of Li Che. The surroundings suddenly fell silent, with only the flickering candle flame remaining restless. Outside the city, in the fire-eye mysterious awestruck spirit ape strange temple, Li Che, wearing the bull demon mask, stood as imposing as a mountain within the temple. The boiling blood roared endlessly. Li Che removed the bull demon mask and stored it in the Qunkan space, gently twisting his tendons. His back muscles emitted a sound like the twanging of a great bow, resembling the roar of a dragon elephant, shaking incessantly. Slowly, the sound gradually faded away. It was like beads of blood rolling, like big and small pearls falling on a jade plate, crisp and pleasant to the ear. After an intense confrontation, the blood polished the body. Engaging with a divine primordial true person, the pressure was indeed not small, and from start to finish, Li Che's mind was tensed, not daring to underestimate his opponent in the slightest. Chapter 461. Only at the end, when Huang Zilong's head was blown off by him, could Li Che finally feel a bit of relaxation. Hiss hiss hiss. His body relaxed all at once, and the heat accumulated in his pores erupted like steam from a high-pressure cooker, stirring up wild winds and relentless torrents. This battle had significantly drained Li Che's vital energy. Whether it was the initial expenditure of a large amount of vital energy to create the bait clone or the subsequent barrage of thousands of fire god cannons, both had greatly diminished his vitality. The ordinary fairy in the painting clones were fragile, and in order to ensure that his own fairy in the painting clone would not burst into ink mist under the oppressive Shen Yuan rank of Huang Zilong, startling the snake in the grass. Thus, he increased the proportion of vital energy, ensuring that this clone's physical body was not weak. It even reached the strength of an ordinary grandmaster. The bait was undoubtedly successful. Sitting cross-legged on the ground, Li Che took out an 8 extremes martial pill and popped it into his mouth. Gulp, the martial pill dropped into his stomach. Hoo! Between Li Che's inhale and exhale, he crushed the medicinal properties of the martial pill, fiercely cleansing his physical body. This battle had brought great gains for Li Che. His eyes flashed open and closed, a storm howled within the mysterious temple. On the altar, the candle flames flickered, with the spiritual monkey statue that had been rubbed bald showing a bitter expression on its face. This son of a bitch is back again. It's almost drained me dry, really going to drain me dry. It seemed that the screams of the temple god echoed, filled with resistance. But Li Che completely took it as the temple god's welcome toward him. His mind shifted. Suddenly, flowing light leisurely strolled before his eyes. Dao Fruit, Immortal Artisan, LV4, 20%, Dragon Elephant Vajra, LV4, 30%, Pure Heart, LV3, 70%, Chess Saint, LV3, 98%, Fairy in the Painting, LV2, 50%. Dao Fruit data displayed before his eyes. Li Che's eyes shone brightly. The improvement of the immortal craft Dao Fruit was expected, as the completion of the Fire God's Furious Jiao Organ Cannon had brought significant maturity. The other was Dragon Elephant Vajra. The battle experience gained from killing a divine element true person also led to substantial improvements. But what surprised Li Che the most were the Pure Heart and Chess Saint's Dao Fruits. The Chess Saint's Dao Fruit, due to having absorbed the divinity condensed into chess pieces by the divine element true person, was almost ready to step into LV4 level. Even so, Li Che could choose to directly use the maturity of the Pure Heart Dao Fruit to enhance it. However, Li Che was not in a hurry first. He calmed his emotions, planning to tally his gains before enhancing himself. The flowing light before his eyes faded away. As the effects of the martial pill took hold, Li Che's vital energy was rapidly recovering. His eyes sparkled bright. In his chest, the Pure Heart Dao Fruit vigorously pulsated. Pure Heart, soul capturing. The next moment, countless dark divinity rapidly converged before him, as if numerous rays of light were swallowed, darkness began to coalesce into a mass. Gradually, it formed the visage of Huang Zilong. However, it appeared in dim colors. Like Shuedufu. Huang Zilong had just been captured by soul capturing and seemed perplexed as if he had been pulled back from the hellish netherworld, utterly bewildered. Still in a daze. But upon seeing Li Che, his eyes gradually lit up. The light grew brighter and brighter. The next moment, it seemed as if a streak of golden light appeared. Humming. Huang Zilong's dark body trembled as he opened his mouth to let out a long howl. Powerful fluctuations of divine sense impacted, causing a golden core enveloped in a black halo to rise into the air. Li Che furrowed his brows. Was this resistance? The divine general captured by the soul capturing actually resisted? Was it because Huang Zilong was a divine element true person? Li Che couldn't help but speculate in his mind. He calmly watched Huang Zilong struggle and resist. Suddenly, he raised his eyebrows and flicked his finger. Xuetufu's figure immediately appeared, and upon appearing, his eyes shone brilliantly as he looked at Li Che. "Greetings, my lord." Then he greedily looked at Huang Zilong, who had been captured by the soul capturing. Li Che instantly sensed Xuetufu's intentions. "Do you want to devour him?" Li Che was startled. Xuetufu nodded incessantly. Li Che narrowed his eyes and smiled, "If that's the case, then I shall reward you. He belongs to you now." As the words fell, Xuetufu's divine general form shot up, his fingers like hooks, a black aura swirling violently as he fiercely grasped Huang Zilong's head. And brutally crushed it in an instant. Bang! Countless trails of black smoke billowed, and Xuetufu opened his mouth to violently inhale, the black smoke continuously rushing into his mouth. Xuetufu's aura also grew continuously stronger. In just a moment, it surpassed the level of Xuetufu when he was alive. On his body, divine gang appeared one after another, finally stabilizing at 15 divine gangs, which means penetrating the entire 150 acupoints of the body. As Huang Zilong was completely devoured, Xuetufu's aura returned to calm, black aura swirling as he thanked Li Che fervently and respectfully with folded fists. Thank you, my lord." Li Che could feel that Xuetufu's level of loyalty to him was almost maxed out. The divine generals captured can actually devour each other to enhance themselves. Li Che's eyes flickered, somewhat surprised. This was indeed unexpected. However, Xuetufu's currently strong aura did increase Li Che's trump cards significantly. If I keep feeding Niu Yi, eventually, what level will he reach? Li Che's eyes sparkled brightly. He snapped his fingers. Niu Yi vanished. Inside the divine temple, the cold wind howled, moaning eerily. It was unclear whether it was the scene of Niu Yi devouring Huang Zilong that had frightened the spirit monkey temple god on the altar. The mysterious temple became incredibly silent. This pavilion master of the hunting god pavilion's divine elemental chess pieces, a total of 50 were extracted, not too few indeed. Chapter 462. Divine Yuan chess piece, when detonated using the Great Avalanche technique, would definitely be even mightier and more terrifying compared to the divine aspect chess pieces. Li Che laughed. The power of the Guanyin Lotus Bullet could rise again. After a brief silence, Li Che took out the Qunkan Jade of Huang Zilong, the Qunkan Jade of a divine element true person, which was indeed too enticing for him. His overwhelming divine sense invaded the Qunkan Jade, tearing directly through the barrier of the superior grade Qunkan Jade. Inside, the space was vast and boundless. Li Che scanned with his divine sense, beginning his inventory. The first step after opening the jade was to find divine crystals. With a thought, divine crystals appeared in front of Li Che one after another. Dense and numerous. Powerful divinity churned and raged. Li Che stared dumbfounded, then his face twitched. As expected. Richer and more extravagant than last time. The collection and foundation of a refined divine element true person truly couldn't be compared with that of a crude martial artist. Especially that of the pavilion master of the hunting god pavilion, an assassin organization. 26 ministries divine crystals, 27 elements divine crystals, 88 extremes divine crystals, the rest are negligible. It really is, too wealthy. Li Che was dazzled by the sight. He first reached out and grabbed the 26 ministries divine crystals, the sheer divinity surging wildly. The flawless 6 ministries divine crystals had not been absorbed in the least. Clearly, these were the reserve funds that the pavilion master had prepared for setting up a branch in the Golden Light Prefecture city. Now, they all belonged to Li Che. After collecting all the divine crystals, Li Che's emotions surged as he continued tallying. The divine weapons were quite ordinary, there were two 7 elements high-grade divine weapons, a sword artifact and a round shield. Mainly offensive and defensive, the set was quite comprehensive. Unfortunately, they didn't match Li Che well. After a quick inventory, he collected them. Li Che glanced at his own Kyunkan space. Unknowingly, he had amassed dozens of divine weapons through murder and looting. There were quite a few 7 elemental divine weapons among them. I do need to find some time to liquidate. Golden Light Prefecture probably can't handle all these. When the time comes to go to Dao City, I will liquidate them in Dao City. Li Che had made up his mind. He calmed his mind and continued the inventory. Next were the Dharma categories, which gave Li Che quite the surprise. 7 Yuan Divine Spirit Law. 7 Yuan Suspended Thoughts Reaching for the Sky's Golden Elixir Method. It was a divine Yuan Golden Elixir method from the 7 Emotions Thought Divinity. A method that could cultivate to the divine element true person realm. Li Che got excited for a while, then calmed down, since his nurturing nature cultivation was still striving to congeal the divine aspect. His divine talent was indeed not quite there. However, at least it was a path that could let him understand the divine Yuan realm. After browsing through it, Li Che realized. Divine element true person, 3 transformations of the golden core. Primordial spirit metamorphosis, golden body transformation, and embryonic breathing transformation. The pavilion master of the hunting god pavilion only managed the first transformation, the primordial spirit metamorphosis. Had he achieved the golden body, the fire god cannon would probably not have been able to kill him. However, if I were to later switch to an Avalanche Cross Raven empowered with divine Yuan chess pieces, its power should be sufficient to kill him. Li Che put away the Dharma method and continued his tally, indeed finding another valuable item. A gold leather booklet appeared in his hands. Link's Yubaki Step. Is this, a martial saint body technique ultimate study? This divine element true person also collects martial saint ultimate studies. Li Che was overjoyed. He had thought that collecting all 5 volumes of martial saint ultimate studies would be very difficult. Now, it seemed not as hard as he had imagined. Martial saint ultimate studies were not rare, the main difficulty lay in the hardships of cultivation. By the great grandmaster stage, one would usually cultivate a martial saint ultimate study. This was the foundation for tackling the martial saint realm. Now I have mastered 4 martial saint ultimate studies. Myriad transformations Dragon Elephant, Primordial equal to Heaven Staff, Lone Mountain Walk Blade, and the newly acquired Link's Yubaki Step. When I master the true intent of 5 martial saint ultimate studies, separately tempering the 5 viscera with the true intent of the 5 martial saint ultimate studies, to step into the realm of a great grandmaster, I could probably easily kill an ordinary great grandmaster. Li Che was looking forward to it. There's one more volume with young Prince Ji Haihui. Li Che remembered it vividly. That could be considered a piece he had already reserved. He continued to tally the loot, the gathering never ceased. A collection belonging to a branch master of the hunting god pavilion, maintained for the sake of keeping such a vast branch running, was exceedingly rich. 20 bottles of 6th rank lower grade dragon blood martial elixir, each bottle containing 1 6th rank martial arts pill, and 57 bottles of 7th order top grade martial pills. As for the 8th and 9th ranks, there are even more. These must have been intended as rewards and consolation for the assassins under command, right? It has all fallen into my hands now. Li Che's smile was incomparably brilliant. He was in an excellent mood. He counted his gains again with great care. He couldn't help but feel utterly moved. Satisfied. Li Che let out a long breath. The tallying of his gains was complete. Li Che stood up, stretched lazily, and his bones made crackling noises. His vigorous vitality swept through like a storm. He stood in the mysterious temple. His entire heart fell into calm. Before his eyes, shimmering lights flashed into existence. Li Che pushed the maturity level of the pure heart Taoist fruit directly onto the Chess Saint's Dao fruit. He filled up the missing 2% of the Chess Saint Dao fruit's maturity. Boom! Suddenly, Li Che felt like the world fell eerily silent. You could hear a pin drop. All that remained was the throbbing sound of the Dao fruit in his chest, like thunder exploding, growing deeper and deeper. It resounded in his ears like thunder. Many Dao fruits pulsed together. It was as if countless lights of black and white were flashing before his eyes. Dao fruit, Chess Saint, LV4, 0%. It was done. Li Che suddenly opened his eyes, and for an instant, his pupils seemed to be cut by a grid. Black and white lights flickered incessantly, like black and white meteors falling outside a chessboard. A powerful force suddenly pulled him into the vast and boundless universe. The Dao tree that tore through the ground and reached into the clouds spread its canopy wide, ensnaring heaven and earth. Perhaps it was an illusion. Li Che felt that the towering Dao tree had grown even thicker. The branches spread out, the leaves were crystal clear and endlessly lush, with veins that seemed to interlace into a world upon each leaf. A leaf, a world. Dao fruits hung from it, dazzling with black and white brilliance. That was the Chess Saint Dao fruit. Looking at it, Li Che felt as if his mind and spirit were drawn and absorbed by the Dao fruit. In the next moment, a crisscrossing chessboard spread out from underneath Li Che's feet, positioning him on a stellar point. And on the opposing corner's stellar point, was that Chess Saint Dao fruit. Li Che and the Dao fruit stood opposite each other on the chessboard. The next instant, Li Che's eyes involuntarily narrowed. He felt as if the chessboard itself was starting to twist and collapse. Beyond the stellar point where the Dao fruit lay, it seemed as if a vague figure with a chess piece in hand was about to make a move from outside the board. The figure was too ethereal and detached. That hand which stretched across the chessboard sky, clutching a chess piece, suddenly felt like the hand of a Buddha, eclipsing the sun. Clack! A white chess piece, like a falling white meteor, struck hard. The earth shattered, thunder roared and rolled. Li Che's consciousness instantly withdrew from the vast world. His eyes opened, his pupils interwoven with the chessboard network. His mind, as if in a flash, became utterly calm, so calm it was as if stripped of emotions, with an absolute stillness. Who was it? The one beyond the Dao fruit, the one making moves on the chessboard, who was it? His heart contained neither joy nor sorrow. His eyes were as still as an ice lake. But he saw. Dao fruit LV4, second transformation, prototype of divine powers, Chess Saint, Great Avalanche, promoted, divine power gained, Chess Saint, limitless. Dao fruit second transformation. Divine power, limitless. Chapter 463. Chess Saint's Dao fruit second transformation. Divine skill, limitless. In Li Che's eyes, lines crisscrossed, as if numerous streams of light were leaping and dancing. Li Che had always been looking forward to what divine skill would come after the second transformation of the Chess Saint's Dao fruit. The prototype of divine powers, Great Avalanche, had brought him a great increase in combat power. For instance, this time, he had been able to kill the pavilion master of the hunting god pavilion, a divine element true person, relying on the divinity explosion of the Great Avalanche. Whether it was the Guanyin Lotus Bullet or the fire god's furious Jiao Organ Cannon, their foundation was the prototype of divine powers from the Chess Saint's Dao fruit, the Great Avalanche. One could say that the transformation of the Chess Saint's Dao fruit had filled Li Che with anticipation. But this time, Li Che's anticipation gradually turned cold and silent. He reminisced about the scenes he had encountered in that vast expanse of space. The heaven and earth chessboard spread out, with someone placing a piece from beyond the board. It seemed like a palm that could cover the sky and sun. Who was that person who placed the piece? Was it a god? The owner of the Dao tree? Who was it? Li Che suddenly felt his mind becoming a bit chaotic, countless lines dancing, the sound of his heartbeat, heavy like drums and hammers, echoing in his ears. A moment passed. His breathing returned to calm, long and steady with each inhale and exhale. The prompts before his eyes changed again. Limitless, divine skill black and white pieces fall, yin and yang limitless, endless infinity, reaching the height of heavenly connection. First layer of heaven, black and white collapse. White piece to the extreme, black piece repulsion, mastery of yin and yang, the world falls silent. Second heaven. Li Che stared in astonishment at the flickering lights and the prompts that emerged before his eyes. The dazzling prompts seemed to weave endless streams of black and white light before him. By now, he was accustomed to the fact that after the second transformation of the Dao fruit, the prototype of divine powers would advance into a divine skill, but he could only unlock the first layer of heaven. Just like his previous divine skills, star plucking, rosy cloud lift, and now limitless. He could only start mastering them from the first layer of heaven. It was probably because the maturity of the Dao fruit was not sufficient. Li Che had pondered how to master the divine skills of the second heaven. Perhaps if the maturity of the Dao fruit increased further, would it become possible? Without much thought. The second transformation of the Dao fruit would still bring significant change and purification to Li Che. Just like the second transformation of Dragon Elephant Vajra, that kind of feedback that changed him from the inside out, made Li Che feel like he had been thoroughly purified. His physical body became even stronger and flawless. The changes to the physical body from star plucking were not obvious, but Li Che could feel his talent as an immortal artisan had increased even more. It must have been a subtle change. Unlike the fierce dragon elephant Vajra. As for the divine skill limitless that he was just experiencing, what kind of transformation it would bring, Li Che still had no clear idea. He closed his eyes and sat cross-legged. The entire mysterious temple was extremely quiet. In the next moment, it was as if the sound of babbling brooks exploded and roared in his ears. The brown Yuan palace within his forehead throbbed ceaselessly, as if another heart had been added. The heaven and earth chessboard expanded, taking Li Che's body as the center, and in an instant it was laid out, enveloping the entire mysterious temple. Thump thump thump. Like the sound of evening drums and morning bells, it kept pounding against his divine sense. A vibration that seemed to shake his soul washed over his body. His perception rose at an unprecedented speed. Including the pure heart divine base, all 8 divine bases in the Nuan inner scenery space vibrated, creating a humming sound, tearing open currents that swirled wildly. Boom boom boom. It was as if specks of light started to drift up from the divine bases. They then proceeded to float within the heaven and earth chessboard. Gradually, they formed an image resembling Li Che. Streams of light flickered, and rosy clouds surged. It was not like the divine sense that Li Che used to sketch out in the heaven and earth chessboard, but rather a true form, more condensing, stronger, and capable of being commanded like his real body. Li Che's eyes opened and shut, filled with splendid auspicious light. Boom! Behind him, all 7 wheels of the 7 emotions divine base emerged, and in an instant, it was as vibrant and eye-catching as a peacock spreading its feathers. Is this primordial spirit? Li Che was incredulous. The primordial spirit, which only those in the Yuanxiang realm could cultivate. It seemed, he had condensed it ahead of time. Was this the transformation brought by the limitless divine skill? Limitless, limitless, reaching the height of heavenly connection. Can it disregard limits? See them as limitless. Li Che mumbled to himself. This was his guess, after all, the divine base realm could only condense divine sense, and could not possibly produce a primordial spirit. To condense a primordial spirit, one had to be at least a cultivator in the Yuanxiang realm. And even then, a primordial spirit condensed in the Yuanxiang realm would be quite frail. Upon stepping into the divine origin realm, the first transformation would be the primordial spirit metamorphosis. That's when the real excitement with the primordial spirit would begin. But he was currently only in the divine base realm. And he seemed to have brought forth a primordial spirit. The 7 wheels divine base supports the primordial spirit. Li Che pondered. A single divine base wheel definitely couldn't sustain the existence of a primordial spirit, it would be crushed by the primordial spirit, leading to the explosion of the divine base. Even stepping into the divine minister for the first time wouldn't work, one needs to practice divine observation, refine the divine minister to perfection, and reach the level of elemental appearance to bear a primordial spirit. No, it's not just the 7 wheels divine base but also the heaven and earth chessboard that together support the existence of the primordial spirit. Li Che understood. The primordial spirit appeared, quietly floating within the heaven and earth chessboard. As the eyes of the primordial spirit opened and closed, it was as though thousands of auspicious lights flowed across the chessboard. The 7 elements corpse curse mother unchild seal that was suppressed within the heaven and earth chessboard immediately began to tremble, becoming more obedient. On the other side, the mythological weapon face of the firmament seemed to vibrate slightly, but after a moment, it returned to stillness. Li Che's primordial spirit glanced over, taking a look at face of the firmament. Chapter 464. Li Che had once handled the purple flame serpentine spear, and knew that even if a mythical weapon had never been wielded, it could possess a simple consciousness. Did this equal to heaven's face have one? Perhaps this mask had been secretly spying on him all along? Li Che didn't care much about it. His mind withdrew. Inside the mysterious temple, Li Che opened his eyes, their brilliance momentarily outshining the light of the white candles burning around him. That splendor, it was as if Li Che himself was glowing. Primordial spirit. Unexpected. Li Che muttered to himself, unexpectedly having condensed a primordial spirit, though it was confined to exist only within the boundaries of the heaven and earth chessboard. However, this meant that he had unknowingly taken a solid step forward on the path of divinity. As long as he could complete his breakthrough as a divine minister and then meticulously sculpt and refine his divine minister appearance, once he entered the elemental appearance, he might become one of the foremost among them. Even advancing to the level of a divine element true person could naturally follow. A pleasant surprise. Li Che's eyes blazed like flames, as if the primordial spirit was manifesting in reality. Changed. Li Che, with eyes bright, felt that after the birth of the primordial spirit, he could clearly capture the lingering divinity between heaven and earth, which had become quite intense. With just a thought, he could pull the divinity of the world toward him and command it. My divine talent is indeed average, but now that I have birthed the primordial spirit, it's like a high school student learning middle school content. Perhaps my talent hasn't changed, but the ease has. Li Che started to laugh. Having only average divine talent had always been a pain in Li Che's heart. But now, it was somewhat compensated. Although it was an unusual kind of compensation, as long as it could accelerate the speed of his divine cultivation, wasn't it good enough? Li Che stood up and stretched his limbs, the sounds crackling like tiger-leopard thunder sound. His blood surged and roared through his meridians like a high-pressure water jet, filled with tremendous power. The birth of the primordial spirit also impacted his physical body, making Li Che's perception of his own flesh much sharper. His mind became clearer, and things like the martial path and divine cultivation seemed much more comprehensible. Li Che stood still, with waves of air automatically arising and fluttering around him. He raised his hand, his fingers curved like hooks. First layer of divine skill. Black and white collapse. Instantly, an immaculate heart chess piece appeared in Li Che's palm. The white chess piece shone brilliantly, emitting a dazzling light. Then, as Li Che's thoughts moved, one after another black chess pieces emerged and adorned the area next to the white immaculate heart chess piece. Like the attraction of a magnet, countless black divine chess pieces slowly gathered on the white piece. The air began to twist, and a terrifying destructive collapsing force intertwined in the center where the black and white pieces collided. Infinite light was swallowed by darkness, akin to the collapse and burst of a black hole. Black and white collapse. Li Che looked at the spinning black sphere emerging in his palm. Very terrifying. If the great avalanche was about triggering explosive power through the aggressive collision of divine chess pieces, then black and white collapse was about compression, collapse, and devouring. When the collapse and devouring reached the extreme, it would then explode silently. The power was even more terrifying. Just feeling the power of the black sphere in his palm made Li Che's body shudder, a strong sense of threat filling his heart. Even his furnace grandmaster flesh might not be able to withstand the twisting and annihilation power of this black sphere. Li Che's eyes grew brighter. Black and white collapse. If used properly, it's a weapon not weaker than the Guanyin lotus bullet. Li Che muttered to himself. The immortal artisan Dao fruit throbbed, already starting to think and research how to optimize this black and white collapse into a powerful weapon. He clenched his fist. The power of black and white collapse roared out suddenly. Transforming into divine chess pieces, they returned to the chess saint's board. Li Che let out a long breath, the oppressive feeling of destruction instantly disappearing. It's powerful, but also difficult to control. Danger and power coexist. The unexpected condensation of the primordial spirit actually left Li Che in quite a good mood. At least, the creation of the primordial spirit, in retrospect, was aiding his divine cultivation immensely. In his good mood, Li Che's gaze landed on the spirit monkey temple god, his smile becoming more overwhelming. With a tap of his toe, his figure appeared next to the statue of the spirit monkey temple god, reaching out his glowing palm towards the other's baldly rubbed head. Although the star-plucking pupil could also draw the divinity of the temple god, Li Che still felt using his hand might be more tactile. Ah! Damn it! Get lost! The spirit monkey temple god seemed to be screaming. Inside the mysterious temple, it was as if a muffled cry sounded like a deep thunder rumbling. In Golden Light Prefecture, the rain showed no signs of stopping, and the relentless downpour had accumulated a thick layer of water on the ground of Mansion City. The incident outside the Kintian Observatory spread through the city at lightning speed. The fall of a divine element true person caused almost extreme panic among everyone. The fear and dread of the underworld reached unprecedented heights. However, the city lord's mansion made no move, only dispatching the divine guard army to clean up the streets and the pavilion master's body from the hunting god pavilion, then suppressed everything. Inside the city lord's mansion, The young Prince Ji Haihui was extremely frightened, his body trembling slightly. He looked pleadingly at the Shadow Guard true person. Although the Shadow Guard true person was entirely merged with the darkness, his expression was extremely grave. Young Prince, don't worry. The Pavilion Master of the Hunting God Pavilion was killed by the underworld, but I still have the confidence to protect your safety. Chapter 465. If the underworld truly makes a move to assassinate the young prince, I will definitely take him away from Golden Light Prefecture City at the fastest speed. Although Shadow Guard true person's words carried a solemn tone, it was still relatively relaxed. That was confidence in his own strength. After all, Hunting God Pavilion has only just begun establishing its business in Mansion City, so the envoys they send are generally of average strength. Even though he's a divine primordial true person, he's merely at the nascent soul mid-stage transformation within the ranks of divine primordial true persons. He can only manipulate the golden elixir brocade, and hasn't even grasped the slightest embryo of a golden body, which is why he was killed by the dark forces of the underworld when they joined together. Shadow Guard true person said. Of course, his words were only meant to relax the young prince. The threat of the underworld was so chilling that even Shadow Guard true person felt his scalp tingle. Though he was in the latter realm of primordial spirit metamorphosis, if the underworld really went to great lengths to scheme against him, he would also suffer no small loss. The main reason was Xuetufu came back to life and stood with the underworld's camp. That fact truly hurt. Fortunately, there were still 6 black armored blood guards, all top grandmasters. Together, they could form a killing formation powerful enough to hold off a great grandmaster who had condensed 20 strands of divine gang. The young prince's expression was bitter. My father, in order to keep a low profile, but it has made me miserable. Who knew that within Golden Light Prefecture City, there would be a force like the underworld that shows no respect for my father? The young prince felt an immense heaviness in his heart. Shadow Guard true person frowned. Young prince, pull yourself together. I have already sent a message to the prince. Once the prince receives it, he will surely send a strong figure to assist us. For now, we must focus on the Temple God Resonance Grand Meet. We've just received word that a caravan from Dao City will enter Mansion City tonight. The Temple God Resonance Grand Meet should commence within these few days. Once the meet concludes, we will leave Mansion City immediately. The underworld threatening the young prince like this. The prince will come and settle the score sooner or later. Upon hearing this, the young prince gradually regained some spirit in his face. Li Che returned to the small courtyard in Falling Flower Alley after absorbing a satisfying amount from the mysterious temple. Fairies in the painting, his avatars, stepped out from the scrolls one by one and took the divinity crystals from Li Che's hand with ease, then sat down to nurturing nature and divine observation. Now, all 7 of Li Che's divine foundations had reached the post-divine foundation realm, and he was launching an assault towards the divine phase realm. This was a patience-testing process, impossible to rush. Li Qingshan spent 2.5 years observing divinity, and he only had 1 wheel of divine foundation. And Li Che had 7 wheels of divine foundation, which was even more troublesome. The 7 wheels of divine foundation provided Li Che with tremendous depth, allowing him to ignore the suppression of rank by divine likeness and even surpass ordinary divine likeness in terms of the intensity and total amount of explosiveness of divinity. If he set foot in the realm of 7 venerated divine forms, Li Che felt that even if he only considered nurturing nature in his cultivation, he wouldn't be weaker than elemental appearance. After dealing with his cultivation arrangements, Li Che hesitated over whether to prepare a set of Fire God's Furious Jia organ cannons for XIXI. Without much hesitation, Li Che took out the 6th order spiritual wood, the Fire God Raging Flood Dragon wood, and started to cut a portion to begin making the organ cannons. Having had the experience once before, Li Che found that crafting it this time was much faster. Moreover, Li Che even planned to dye XIXI's version of the Fire God cannon a soft pink. For a girl, even when playing with fireworks, it should be pretty and pink. That's adorable. Of course, even a small Fire God organ cannon isn't so easy to refine and requires several days of work. After cleaning up the yard, with the death of the pavilion master from the Hunting God Pavilion, the lurking threat vanished, and Li Che fully relaxed. The threat posed by the divine primordial true person was immense. Now that it was removed, he naturally felt refreshed. However, within Golden Light Prefecture City, aside from the pavilion master of the Hunting God Pavilion, there is also a 7 elements chief corpse god envoy from the corpse god cult. This was told to me by Li Qingshan. It is said that this 7 Yuan upper-tier corpse god envoy has been responsible for many evil deeds in and around Mansion City, including City Lord Cao Guang of Flying Thunder City being bewitched to hold the Thousand Infants banquet and allowing the Spirit Infant sect to wreak havoc, which is linked to this 7 Yuan upper-tier corpse god envoy. His surname is Yuan, given name Jinggong. It's said that he only had half-step cursed silver corpse cultivation, but according to information from the Temple Control Bureau, this Yuan Jinggong has already stepped into the realm of cursed silver corpse. Li Che walked with an oil paper umbrella in hand, his dark shirt billowing wildly in the strong gusty winds of a torrential downpour. He walked along the alleyways and arrived at a small restaurant in the storm. A big black dog lay at the entrance, tongue lolling out, gazing at the rain curtain with a somewhat poetic air. Tantalizing aromas wafted from inside the restaurant. Li Che approached. Ding-ling-ling. The door was pushed open, and the sound of a bell being struck was heard. "Boss, give me a serving of braised pig trotters, beef with green peppers." Li Che named several dishes in a row. All of them substantial. From the kitchen, a faint voice replied. "Just a moment." Li Che found a seat close to the door and sat down, exchanging glances with the big black dog. The wind howled, tilting the sheets of rain which fell to the ground, creating a continuous splash. The breeze, laced with rain, brushed across his face as Li Che leaned against the doorframe, comfortably closing his eyes. His dark shirt billowed, and he crossed his legs, more relaxed than he had ever been. Fighting and killing were not things Li Che enjoyed. But born into this world, one cannot control their own fate. Li Che could only try to create a peaceful life with his own hands. With the death of the pavilion master from Hunting God Pavilion, there should be no danger to his family for a while. The divine primordial true person Shadow Guard should not take action, his purpose is to protect the young prince. The only threat, presumably, would be the mysterious corpse god envoy Yuan Jinggong from the corpse god cult. So far, even Li Che had not been able to identify who he was. Li Che felt that the corpse curse mark held by this corpse god envoy might well be at the 6 Bureau's level. Chapter 466. But the corpse god cult had been incessantly struck by the underworld, it shouldn't dare to make any rash moves. The most important thing was, Chess Saint Deo fruit had advanced to LV4, the speed of the thunder chess piece's movement had become even faster. Moreover, it had acquired a new ability. It could now teleport other people along with it. Li Che raised his hand, and a chess piece glowing with white light was hopping on his finger. As he played with the chess piece, Li Che felt pleased. Being able to bring others along for a thunder teleport. XIXI's safety was even more secure. If they couldn't beat them, they could run. The big black dog lying on the ground, with its expressive eyes, gave Li Che, who was playing with the chess piece, a glance, then heaved a sigh and laid its head back down. The rich aroma of food drifted out from the kitchen. "Boss, thanks a lot." Li Che flicked a gold leaf over, receiving the steaming dish the owner had prepared, his face full of smiles. This meal obviously wasn't worth a gold leaf, but Li Che was happy to give it. After leaving the restaurant, Li Che walked out of the alley and clenched his fingers. In an instant, when he reappeared, he was already halfway up Zhanglei Peak. Shaking off the droplets of rain from his body, Li Che stepped into the courtyard with a smile on his face. "Wahaha! It's braised pig trotters. XIXI loves daddy the most." XIXI's happy squeals, childlike and sweet, floated out from the courtyard shrouded in misty rain and dim lights. Night fell. Deep and profound. A convoy of carriages burst through the dense wind and rain, the flood dragon horses' blood ran hot, their steam rising and mingling with the rain. The clatter of hooves splashed through puddles. Dao City Temple Administration Office Supervisor Zhu Chaoyang, escorting a divine sect elder to Golden Light Prefecture City. "Open the city gates quickly." Before it was anywhere close, a booming voice sounded from within the carriage. It was a display of pure and domineering vital energy, fused with the air to create that sound, showcasing an extremely advanced technique of gang chi manipulation. "Great Grand Master." The commander guarding the city gates narrowed his eyes, not hesitating for a second, and immediately opened the city gates. Boom! Huge flood dragon horses pulled the carriage, rushing at high speed into the city, galloping along the mansion city's vast main road. As the wheels rolled over, they splashed water in all directions. The carriage sped on. Inside Golden Light Prefecture City, all the powers had also felt the arrival. City Lord's Mansion. The shadow guard true person opened his eyes the moment the convoy entered the city and appeared next to the young prince, who was meditating. They're here. Lingnan Taoist City Temple Administration Office Supervisor Zhu Chaoyang, and a Qian Yuan Divine Sect Elder, escorting one of the 4 royal divine weapons, the prison lotus wind fire golden light wheel. The shadow guard true person said in a grave tone. I have yet to sense which divine sect elder it is. But anyone who is a divine sect elder is at least in the divine origin realm, it's just not clear whether it's a primordial spirit metamorphosis or a golden body transformation. The young prince opened his eyes and let out a long breath. It's good they have arrived. This means the temple god resonance gathering is about to begin. Once the gathering is over, I can finally leave this damned place. A smile couldn't help but appear on the young prince's face. The shadow guard true person was silent, saying nothing more. The young prince, however, snorted, that underworld divine monkey has even threatened us, saying he would eliminate the people by my side one by one to affect my participation in the temple god resonance. Too late now, isn't it? The young prince laughed. Young prince, that doesn't matter. What's important is the temple god resonance. The old prince has high hopes for you, you must give it your all. The 8-armed prison lotus wrathful third prince's sinister temple holds the legacy of the 4 supremes temple gods. Should you succeed, your future could even surpass that of the other princes. The shadow guard true person said earnestly. Even without attaining the legacy, should you obtain another prison lotus wind fire golden light wheel hidden within the strange K, it would also be worthwhile. The young prince stopped smiling. His expression turned serious. I won't disappoint my father, he said. On top of Golden Light Peak, the doors of the divine palace swung wide open. Nan Luo with his white hair flying, walked out with his hands behind his back, and Wang Kuyu, who was nowhere to be seen before, had already appeared in front of the temple's entrance. They have arrived, the elder of the authentic sect is here. Wang Kuyu murmured. Another round, the prison lotus wind fire golden light wheel has also arrived. Nan Luo murmured. Indeed. It's precisely because of this prison lotus wind fire golden light wheel that our Qian Yuan divine sect was able to initiate the temple god resonance of this 4 royal mysterious temple. Wang Kuyu's eyes were deep. The great supervising minister said, this temple god resonance convention at the Golden Light Prefecture's 4 royal mysterious temple would reveal a legacy, and it's uncertain, to whom it will bloom. Representatives from all the powers have already arrived. The son of Ji Moli, along with the descendants from Dao City's great 1,000-year-old family, the Temple Control Bureau brought a divine child from the divine capital, rumored to have purple chi reaching 1,000 feet. Additionally, that Yuan Jinggong from the corpse god cult, he also brought a spirit baby carefully chosen by the corpse god cult. And the imperial clan. At this point, Wang Kuyu suddenly stopped speaking. Nan Luo's eyes flickered. The great scenic imperial clan. He let out a breath and looked beyond the wind and rain. I believe in my disciple. When he finished speaking, Nan Luo suddenly stepped forward. His long sleeve whipped out, and in an instant, it seemed as if an ancient bell resounded. The mountain gate of the Golden Light Peak opened at that moment. It allowed the carriage that had been galloping all the way from Golden Light Prefecture's official road to enter the gate. As the main branch of the Golden Light subsect, the Qian Yuan Divine Sect naturally opened its gate to welcome the guests. Such a grand entrance shook the entire Golden Light subsect. Zhanglei Peak. After Li Che had lulled his wife and daughter to sleep, he was sitting alone under the eaves, appreciating the rain curtain, quietly meditating with a hot stove beside him brewing warm tea. People from the Qian Yuan Divine Sect, the main branch, have come. Li Che's eyes opened and closed. In an instant, the heaven and earth chessboard seemed to leap from between his brows, expanding, ensnaring the entire mansion city of Golden Light Prefecture. Everything was within his view. In the midst of this, it was as if he had opened the heavenly eye, clarifying everything immensely. His powerful primordial spirit sat above the chessboard, akin to a celestial deity overlooking the human world. He saw it. The flood dragon horse that was charging on the official road of the mansion city. And also that which was hidden inside the carriage. The prison lotus wind fire golden light wheel being suppressed and sealed by an old man. The carriage drove at a fast pace. The flood dragon horses neighed, hot waves rolling in their nostrils. Driving rain pelted the carriage's top and lashed against the robust charioteer at the reins. The chilling winter breeze within the heavy rain fluttered the curtain sporadically, revealing just a corner of the carriage's antique robe, yet concealing the figure seated within. The figure was elderly, sitting inside the carriage, antique clothing billowing in the winter wind. The pounding winter rain was relentless outside, yet the old man inside was unaffected. In his palm, which resembled an old tree root, he held a dimly shining golden wheel, palm-sized, with ancient and profound patterns engraved upon it. The old man's other hand was busy with a seal formula, thumb pressing against the lines between his forefinger and middle finger, constantly moving to cover the golden wheel with divinity as if to congeal it within the carriage. His eyes were closed, letting the carriage jolt him without disturbing his peace, as if he were deep in sleep. Suddenly, the golden wheel in the old man's palm, which he was suppressing and sealing, unexpectedly began to flicker with golden light, the inner and outer rims starting to misalign and rotate, ringing. Accompanying the rotation of the wheel, countless sparks leapt and danced. His eyes remained closed, yet his eyelids were turning rapidly. Slowly, he opened his eyes. Lifting his head, his withered hair whipped about, as if trying to pierce through the carriage roof. The curtain of rain above the carriage seemed scattered by some invisible force. The old man looked up, his hair flying wildly about, his gaze unprecedentedly solemn. The prison lotus wind fire golden light wheel. Having just entered the Golden Light Prefecture city, it was already close to breaking control. Even when passing by the Nine Dragons river bank and glancing from afar at the wrathful Third Prince's mysterious temple, there had never been such a disturbance. What's more, just now, it seemed as if a temple god, seated within the clouds, was scrutinizing him. The old man retracted his gaze, his withered brows furrowed. Golden Light Prefecture. Why does it feel as if it's shrouded by a massive dark hand? Chapter 467. The rain poured down furiously. The sky was gloomily dark, oppressive, and cramped. The carriage raced through the storm, but the old man felt a sense of oppression, as if deities were seated upon the clouds, overlooking the human world, spying on the entire mansion city. The old man was well aware that this was merely an illusion. However, the fact that he could feel this way indicated that the person's strength was absolutely out of the ordinary. They must be at least at the Divine Origin True Person realm. The Divine Origin True Person of Golden Light Prefecture City now. Who could it be? That shadow following young Prince Ji Haihui? Or Liu Yao from the Kintian Observatory? Could it be Wang Kuyu, that lad? No, he doesn't have the guts. The old man formed a sealing technique with his fingers, slowly conjured several seal formulas, and resealed the golden light wheel that flickered and flowed with firelight. His fingers, as gnarled as thousand-year-old dead wood, lightly covered the top of the golden light wheel, and the sparking fire instantly dissipated without a trace. Only the faint smoke stirred up by the sparks lingered. As the curtain fluttered and fell, the smoke drifted out of the carriage. Could it be a Divine Origin True Person from the Corpse God cult? The old man's eyes glimmered darkly. This trip, carrying the 4 royal divine weapons Prison Lotus Wind Fire Golden Light Wheel to Golden Light Prefecture City, definitely couldn't be considered an easy task. The Corpse God cult has been quite active recently, in Dao City and in Golden Light Prefecture as well. But, on my way here, the evil ones from the Corpse God cult have been very low-key, and I haven't sensed a trace of Death Chi or Corpse Chi. The Corpse God cult has actually learned to keep a low profile. The old man murmured a few words. Outside the carriage, the seated coachman suddenly whipped the reins, shattering the air. Then, the carriage burst forth like a sharp blade of light, slicing through the night's curtain of rain. Temple Control Bureau. Xiejing, dressed in an official uniform, side knife by his waist, stood quietly in the rain, surrounded by supervisors from the Temple Control Bureau who were stationed within the city, the head officials and their deputies. The rest of the higher UPS from the Temple Control Bureau had gone to sit in other mysterious temples. Xiejing stood with his hands hanging down, a flicker of excitement crossing his eyes, for he had been informed in advance about which great Grand Master was coming to Golden Light Prefecture City. It was his former team leader from his martial training days in Dao City, whom he hadn't seen for many years. In the distance, a carriage approached slowly. Its speed wasn't fast, its wheels rolled over groundwater, casting up a curtain of water. From afar, it felt as though a formidable beast was hidden within the carriage, containing an extremely terrifying boiling power. Little Jingzi. The curtain lifted, and Zhu Chaoyang, a burly figure, emerged. His robust and scalding vigor instantly hit everyone, making the wind and rain seem to freeze. Zhu Chaoyang's eyes were bright, his body robust and his hair strong, his temples pulsated, bursting with energy. As soon as he appeared, the overwhelming aura of a Grand Master almost suffocated everyone present. A blazing martial Dao will, like the fierce sun in the sky. Countless vapor nearly evaporated in an instant. Members of the Prefecture City Temple Control Bureau gripped their side knives and bowed respectfully. Zhu Chaoyang extended a hand to quiet them. Although he was only a supervisor in the Temple Control Bureau of Dao City, his status was higher than that of a governor's office supervisor from other local prefectures. Both in strength and position. No need for formalities. I am escorting a divine sect elder from Dao City, and now that we have reached the city, it is natural for us to stop by the Temple Control Bureau. Zhu Chaoyang explained a few sentences. Then, from the inside of the carriage, emerged a child wearing a red belly band, with only a tuft of hair tied in a top knot on his forehead. Xiejing's eyes swept over him, his heart tensing. He knew that Zhu Chaoyang personally leading the team to Golden Light Prefecture City had another task. Beyond aiding and escorting the divine sect elder, there was also this child. From the 1,000-year-old noble iron family of the divine capital, a divine child. Rumored to have celestial talent rising 1,000 feet high. Having great confidence in the temple god resonance of this third prince's mysterious temple. Little Iron Head, come meet the members of the Prefecture City Temple Control Bureau. Zhu Chaoyang laughed heartily. Don't call me Little Iron Head, I have a name, it's Tai Shankei. Tai Shankei was quite unhappy, having learned at a young age how to roll his eyes, all forced by society. Ha ha ha, Iron Head sounds better. Zhu Chaoyang grinned, baring his teeth. My mother went to the great supervising minister, and after his divination he said, there's a divine weapon suitable for me in this mysterious temple, namely the 4 royal divine weapons Purple Flame Serpent Spear Fire Tip Spear. I've come for this spear. I want just this divine spear. Whoever dares to compete with me, I'll burn them. Tai Shankei clenched his little fist, flames raging and burning from his mouth, nose, and eyes. Moreover, they showed 3 different colors. The falling raindrops were scorched, making a sizzling sound. Xiejing quietly observed the fiercely domineering Tai Shankei, a shiver running down his spine. Before the rain could reach Tai Shankei, it was already burnt to steam and evaporated away. Although in the rain, Tai Shankei remained completely dry. That flame, just one look at it gave a feeling of panic and horror. One name involuntarily emerged in his mind. Among the heaven and earth divine objects. Divine fire. Looking at Tai Shankei, Xiejing dared not underestimate him. Countless raindrops sizzled and evaporated, as if there was an invisible ring of flame garments around Tai Shankei. As if inherently an incarnation of flame. Zhu Chaoyang laughed, do as you like. Chapter 468. However, the 4 royal divine weapons are not so easy to master. I think you first need to receive the inheritance from the temple god. Zhu Chaoyang said, then turned to look at Xiejing. Little Jingzi, it seems you haven't neglected your cultivation over the years. Not bad. Zhu Chaoyang patted Xiejing's shoulder, his eyes filled with satisfaction. Receiving praise from an elder, Xiejing couldn't help but smile, stepping aside to clear the path. Allowing Zhu Chaoyang and Tai Shankei to enter the Temple Control Bureau. They entered the buildings of the Temple Control Bureau. Zhu Chaoyang stood with his hands behind his back, his brows furrowed, sniffing the air. There is a dispersal of broken and shattered martial Dao will in the air, along with the golden core aura of a divine element true person. What has happened in the Golden Light Prefecture? Zhu Chaoyang asked. As a Grand Master who had condensed 18 Divine Gang and belonged to the Grand Master Warrior in the middle realm of Divine Gang, his strength was far beyond that of Xuetufu. Xiejing did not hide anything and recounted the grievances involving the underworld, the young Prince Ji Haihui, and the hunting god pavilion. The underworld? What kind of fierce thing is that? Upon hearing this, Zhu Chaoyang's eyes shimmered with sharpness. First to kill a Grand Master, then to kill a divine element true person. There's something to it. Zhu Chaoyang chuckled. The temple god resonance assembly is about to begin, and all kinds of demons and spirits are coming out. The hunting god pavilion, the corpse god cult, the young prince, and now comes the underworld. It's an eventful autumn indeed. Zhu Chaoyang sighed. This trip was indeed not as simple as he had imagined. Hopefully, there wouldn't be too many complications. Li Che slowly closed up the heaven and earth chessboard. His eyes opened and closed, stirring up a great storm, blowing his black robe rustling. The powerhouse of the authentic divine sect, unfathomable, far beyond that of the divine element true person I just killed. Li Che exhaled. Although it was just a fleeting glimpse through the heaven and earth chessboard, The powerful primordial spirit of the other party had faintly sensed his spying. Without doubt, this elder from the authentic divine sect likely was a warrior who had perfected the primordial spirit metamorphosis. He might even have stepped into the divine Yuan second realm, golden body transformation. Even a divine craftsman fire god cannon setup might not be able to kill someone who has completed the golden body transformation. 1,000 shots may not be enough, but 10,000 shots should suffice. Li Che laughed. But 1,000 shots of avalanche cross raven would already drain his furnace's chi and blood. 10,000 shots. After firing these 10,000 shots, even the bull demon might have been sucked dry into beef jerky. The fire god's furious Jiao organ cannon is indeed related to chi and blood. The stronger one, the longer one can sustain firing this cannon. If I were to break through to a great grandmaster, 10,000 shots, I should be able to fire them. Li Che stretched and his muscles and bones crackled. Li Che never overestimated his cultivation but always subconsciously downgraded his powers by one level. For instance, although he now possessed the physique of a furnace grandmaster, when facing ordinary grandmaster posterior realms, he could kill them in just 3 moves. Yet, Li Che still felt he needed to exert his full power to kill his opponent. This was a form of cautiousness in dealing with others and a respect towards his enemies. What if the enemy had a hidden card? And if you treated him as if he held a hidden card, then when he used it, you wouldn't be caught off guard. You would not be easily killed by the enemy's schemes. Li Che flicked his fingers and extinguished the blazing coal furnace. The water for the tea gradually stopped boiling. The divine sect elder has arrived, and the temple god resonance conference is probably starting in these few days. After a brief rest, it should be ready to begin. Li Che twisted his neck, and the muscles on his back roared like a Jiao dragon. His terrifying chi and blood seemed to explode within the cavities of his body. It's time to give XIXI some special training. Also, it's time to fulfill my promise. Otherwise, this young prince might think I, the underworld divine monkey, am all talk. Li Che smiled, changed into the bull demon attire and his body loomed large like a mountain. He went inside the house, picked up the soundly sleeping XIXI, and instantly transported her to the mysterious temple of the Fire Eye mystical awestruck spirit ape. Just arrived at the strange temple. The purple flame serpent spear inside XIXI's arm seemed to be stimulated, as purple flames burst forth instantly. This person, here again. About to beat the snake again. Boom, boom, boom. The temperature of the purple flames sharply rose, making the air in the entire strange temple seem scorched and twisted. Roar. The purple flame flood dragon snake opened its mouth and roared as if invisible sound waves exploded through the void. Under the bull demon mask, Li Che's lips curled up, and his physique suddenly shot up, fingers clenched. The tiger leopard thunder sound exploded. The tiger leopard thunder sound splitting golden spear immediately landed in his hand, covered by chi and blood rosy clouds, fierce blood red patterns appearing like thick blood vessels. The tiger leopard thunder sound spear seemed to swell in size. Grasping it in one hand, he fiercely swung it out. While helping XIXI integrate with the divine weapon, he could also temper his own martial techniques. Simply perfect. As the shadow of the weapon exploded, springing apart, it was just like a peacock fanning its tails. The purple flame flood dragon snake was immediately exploded into countless scattering purple flames. Inside Li Che's chest, the dragon elephant Vajradeo fruit trembled. The recently acquired martial saint ultimate study Link's Yubeki step suddenly emerged in Li Che's mind. With each step out, it seemed the space itself twisted momentarily. Li Che's figure instantly stretched out with overlapping after-images that finally unified. Such a technique was far more powerful and exquisite compared to the cloud harrier treading on clouds. Li Che's eyes sparkled bright as he practiced many martial saint ultimate studies while cultivating the Link's Yubeki step. XIXI was in deep sleep. Li Che was cultivating. Only the purple flame serpent spear bursting with the purple flame flood dragon snake, was getting beaten up. And in the process of getting beaten up. Chapter 469. The purple flame serpentine spear vibrated ceaselessly, releasing more and more flames, further enhancing XIXI's fusion soldier body refinement. And this was exactly the effect Li Che had desired. Li Che was aware that it was virtually impossible for 4-year-old XIXI to fully master the 4 royal divine weapon. However, providing his daughter with some added confidence in the face of the impending and dangerous temple god resonance test was enough for him. This was merely a father's simple and humble thought. The storm was fierce, and the water of the Nine Dragons River surged as if boiling, whipping up waves of steam that burst into the clouds. The accumulated heavy snow melted, turning into a torrential downpour over the human world. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. The sound of the falling rain was extremely fierce, and it seemed as if lightning flickered behind the clouds. At the Divine Sect Mountain Gate, the rain cascaded down the blue stone steps like a waterfall, boiling and bursting, resembling a vivid white dragon. The flood dragon horse paused, its nostrils snorting with hot streams, its hooves lifting and then striking down, splashing water everywhere. Nan Li, Wang Kuyu, Zhang Qingzheng, Li Qingshan, Zhu Hongdou, and Wang Wuyu, 6 figures, stood in front of the mountain gate archway, silently gazing toward the carriage. They were all wearing conical hats, parting the flow of rain. The charioteer pulled the reins, the thick veins on his arms bulging prominently. He then respectfully lifted the curtain, opened an oiled paper umbrella, donned a conical hat, and wore a straw coat, leaning forward as he held the umbrella. Inside the carriage, an elderly man in simple clothes slowly stepped out. The old man was very thin, gaunt as a withered tree, his palm supporting a golden wheel, the other hand constantly performing a sealing technique. Nan Li and Wang Kuyu's gaze fell on this elder, slightly startled. It seemed they had not expected the visitor to be this elder. Elder Jiao, I didn't expect that you would be in charge of this 4 royal divine weapon escort. Nan Li spoke first. The elder stepped down from the carriage, his withered face bearing a faint smile. This old body of mine is nearly ready for the grave. Being able to do something more for the sect is naturally not easy. The elderly man said with a light laugh. This elderly man was none other than the outer sect great elder of the authentic divine sect, Jiao Shao Kaiyu. The authentic divine sect was divided into the inner sect, outer sect, and core true successors. The status of an outer sect great elder was actually not inferior to that of an inner sect core elder, it was just that his cultivation was not enough. Nan Li had once trained under this elder and knew some secrets. Jiao Shao Kaiyu had in fact broken through to the golden body transformation years ago and had been ranked among the inner core elders. Unfortunately, during an expedition in the 6th Division's Strange Temple, Strange K, he suffered a severe injury. His divine origin golden body was shattered, and he fell back to the primordial spirit metamorphosis, after which his cultivation never recovered and could no longer advance. Everyone thought this elder was about to retire, yet unexpectedly, for such an important task, he had been sent. What? You look down on this old man's bones. Elder Jiao seemed to read Nan Li and Wang Kuyu's minds and chuckled. You 2 youngsters, I guided you back then. Now, you start looking down on this old man. Nan Li and Wang Kuyu were immediately alarmed and quickly bowed deeply. Elder Jiao, with the golden wheel in hand, said, let's go to the divine palace, we'll use the heavenly king tower to suppress this wheel, otherwise, this old body of mine will really be tormented by it. Nan Li quickly led the way. The group arrived at Golden Light Peak and set foot inside the divine palace. Nan Li personally operated the heavenly king tower, casting its radiance. Upon encountering the heavenly king tower, the prison lotus wind fire golden light wheel initially erupted into towering flames, but both were incomplete for royal divine weapons. The heavenly king tower did not falter, shooting straight out and showering myriad golden beams to firmly seal the wheel in the mid-air of the divine palace. Elder Jiao shook his hands, exhaled a breath, and lowered his arms. Finally got rid of that wheel. Elder Jiao laughed. He then turned to look at everyone. Nan Li introduced Li Qingshan and others to Elder Jiao. Li Qingshan, a renowned name from the Yunzhou Divine Foundation spectrum. I heard you've stepped into the divine phase. Not bad. Solid foundations, Thunderstrike exorcising godly physique has a lot of potential, 6 ministries godly aspect breakthrough, akin to a regular post-divine phase. Elder Jiao nodded, appreciatively observing Li Qingshan. He had certainly heard of Li Qingshan's name, though he was in Dao City, being notable on the state spectrum was quite impressive. To reach the divine phase with the 6 ministries godly aspect, based in Dao City, he could squeeze into the top 100 of the divine phase list. Li Qingshan, your martial path is not bad either. You still have a chance to step into the great Grand Master's shoes. Are you interested in developing in Dao City? Once there, it should be easier for you to become a great Grand Master. Elder Jiao, with a benevolent and kind countenance, asked smilingly. Li Qingshan was momentarily startled, though he did not refuse. Go to Dao City? That could be possible. But, he felt somewhat reluctant to leave the Golden Light subsect. Nan Li seemed to see through his thoughts and chuckled, "Li Qingshan, consider it. If you can establish a foothold in the authentic divine sect, our Golden Light subsect could also be said to have connections within the core section." Elder Jiao shook his head, Nan Li supporting him. Suddenly, Elder Jiao thought of that sensation like a deity peering from the heavens. He inquired about Golden Light Prefecture City, asking if any experts had recently arrived. Nan Li did not conceal anything, revealing that Divine Origin Realm and Great Grandmasters had emerged in the city. He also detailed the deaths of Xuetufu and the Hunting God Pavilion Master, clearly stating it. Underworld evil beings. Elder Jiao was stunned. The underworld? Even him, who had lived for lengthy years, traversed numerous mountains and saw a wide breadth of the world, had never heard of it. Chapter 470. Enough, let's not talk about this. I hear your Golden Light subsect has taken in a Jiazi child prodigy. Tomorrow I'll have a good look at this divine child and see if there is a divine connection. The competition for the Temple God Resonance is fierce this time, and for your Golden Light subsect, it's only this divine child that you can truly show off. In past years, the Temple God Resonance was just a competition among supreme spiritual children, but this year, because of a single remark from the great supervising minister, even the divine children from the divine capital have joined. Your subsect might end up guarding a treasure mountain and come out with nothing. Jiao Shaokaiu shook his head, heaving a sigh. Nan Liwo's eyes flickered. But he laughed, Elder Jiao, that might not necessarily be the case. That girl is quite something. After sending XIXI back to her room, Li Che went to the study, clutching the Six Ministries divine crystal and began nurturing his pure heart's divinity. The next day. Early morning. After a whole night of rain, it finally ceased. Dawn broke through. Crystalline water droplets hung on the leaves of ancient trees amidst the mountains. In the study, Li Che finished a night of nurturing nature cultivation and slowly opened his eyes. Dao fruit, pure heart, LV3, 72%. A night of arduous cultivation had led to a 2% increase in maturity. And that was with the aid of the Six Ministries divine crystal. Li Che shook his head, my talents in divinity are indeed shallow. Even with the help of the divine crystal, the progress is so slow. But some progress is better than none. If he were to draw all the divinity from the Six Ministries divine crystal, his pure heart should be able to reach LV4. So, this is a matter of perseverance. Indeed, without a cheat, my talent in divinity is pretty average. Li Che had a clear understanding of himself. After making breakfast, he called his wife and daughter to eat, and old Chen also came over to join them. While eating breakfast, Li Che lightly snapped his fingers. Instantly, 3 white divine chess pieces of pure heart floated in front of the 3 of them. XIXI looked curiously at the divine chess pieces. Daddy, what is this? Can we eat it? She asked, blinking her big eyes. They're not for eating. The thunder chess piece is hidden inside your energy center, and if you're ever in danger, you can use it to escape. Just crush the chess piece and you'll appear by Daddy's side. Li Che smiled and ruffled XIXI's head as he explained. Chess Saint Dao fruit has indeed improved its functions after the second transformation. Previously, the Flying Thunder chess piece could only be used by Li Che, but now there are far fewer restrictions. Anyone who crushes the chess piece will cause Li Che to sense it, and in a moment of thought, he can move them to his side. Of course. Li Che can also choose not to move them, it's all within a moment of his thought. Upon hearing that it wasn't food, XIXI lost interest. However, she obediently put away the chess piece, which turned into a stream of light and entered her energy center. Zhangya and old Chen, of course, didn't ask any further, having full trust in Li Che. Well, Li Che is the renowned bull demon after all. After breakfast, Li Che then carried XIXI off to Golden Light Peak. Upon arriving at Golden Light Peak, Li Che felt something extraordinary. XIXI's senior sister Sang Wanyan had been waiting early on and took the 2 of them to the great clearing in front of the Divine Palace as soon as they arrived. Li Che saw that nearly all the children had gathered there. And on the Taishi chair placed in front of the Divine Palace, an old man in simple attire was sitting upright. Little fatty Zhou Peng and Yunyi were gathered around the old man, talking and laughing, obviously quite familiar with him. Elder Jiao, the little divine child of my Golden Light subsect has arrived. At once, Jiao Shaokaiu lifted his gaze, which rolled with a purple aura, to look over. This look was drawn by Li Che, who was holding XIXI. Because in Jiao Shaokai's eyes, a majestic column of purple aura divinity rose from Li Che's body, soaring into the sky. Reaching the clouds, it resembled a purple aura dragon serpent writhing its body, raising its head in a roar. The old man was stunned. Had he seen wrongly? Such an adult, and still possessing a child's innate purple aura divinity? What did he eat to keep himself so well preserved? Li Qingshan, standing aside, saw Elder Jiao staring at Li Che but not looking at XIXI, and the corner of his mouth twitched. Right, it's not his fault that he saw wrongly with the observation skill before, is it? Li Che, a 23-year-old divine child. Even a figure like Elder Jiao could be mistaken. With a curious glint in his eyes, Jiao Shaokaihu flashed them a few times before looking toward XIXI in Li Che's arms. With one glance, the old man raised his eyebrows, quite satisfied. Although he couldn't see just how high XIXI's innate purple aura divinity was, it definitely reached 1,000 feet. The old man himself was astonished. 1,000 feet purple aura divinity. Golden Light Prefecture has actually produced such 1,000 feet divine child. Li Che knew that XIXI was not as tall as 1,000 feet at the beginning. Primarily, it was due to the generous gift from young Prince Ji Haihui. Little girl, come here to elder grandfather. Jiao Shaokaihu warmly waved his hand. Li Che put XIXI down, and she did not resist. She ran over, thump thump thump. Puckering her lips, she raised her chubby cheeks, her lively eyes sparkling with a bright gleam. The old man stretched out his hand and gently patted XIXI on several spots on her body. This was bone testing. The old man's eyes revealed a hint of shock. He looked at XIXI with some disbelief. The usually unflustered heart began to ripple. The powerful primordial spirit within the inner scene of the energy center trembled slightly. This physique. How can it be so good? A 4-year-old girl, her body is no weaker than a grandmaster warrior. Such a physique is that of a martial body. An innate great grandmaster martial body. Impossible. An innate divine child of 1,000 feet and an innate great grandmaster martial body. Could they both appear in one little girl? If she were just an innate divine child of 1,000 feet, it could still be understood. After all, in the area of the 4 royal mysterious temples, divinity lingers, and the birth of an innate divine child of 1,000 feet is not unprecedented. Such divine children are created by the environment, blessed by fate. Incredible. This girl. What a treasure. An innate great grandmaster martial body. Jiao Shaokaihu exclaimed with admiration, looking at Nan Luo. Luo, you're lucky. Nan Luo was stunned when he heard Jiao Shaokaihu's words. What? An innate great grandmaster martial body? Impossible. He had tested XIXI's bones before, and although her martial path physique was indeed good, it had not reached the level of an innate great grandmaster martial body. However, Nan Luo wouldn't doubt Elder Jiao, the elder wouldn't deceive him. Nan Luo silently looked towards XIXI. Then he turned his gaze to Li Che. Li Che was also stunned for a moment. An innate great grandmaster martial body? His eyes couldn't help but flicker with delight. Fusion soldier body refining indeed had some effect. This fire-tip spear, it needs to be pushed a bit more. A 4-year-old child changes every day, with endless possibilities, Li Che said, unable to hide his triumph. Nan Luo nodded, then remembered that XIXI wasn't very old. He had tested her when she was 3 years old, perhaps, at that time, XIXI was still developing. At this moment, XIXI was not paying attention to the adult's speculation about her physique. Instead, she tilted her body and peeked curiously into the open divine palace. The prison lotus wind fire golden light wheel suppressed by the golden celestial tower. Just one glance had completely captured XIXI's attention. Elder grandfather, sect master teacher, that golden wheel wants to play with XIXI. Daddy. The golden wheel is tempting XIXI. XIXI's voice was soft and infantile. The next moment, XIXI lifted her arm, her chubby finger hooking towards the golden wheel inside the divine palace. Jiao Shaokaihu, Nan Luo and Li Che were surprised and looked towards the divine palace. Suddenly, all 3 of them narrowed their eyes. They saw the prison lotus wind fire golden light wheel spinning violently as if gone mad. Crack! Crack crack! Countless sparks flew. Boom! In an instant. Bright golden flames burst forth on the golden wheel. The golden celestial tower trembled. Then, it could no longer suppress, causing the prison lotus wind fire golden light wheel to rotate at high speed with wind fire, shooting towards XIXI. Chapter 471. Crack crack. The brilliant humming tore through the tranquility of the divine palace. Fierce fire light burst forth from the golden wheel, accompanied by high-speed rotation, distorting the air with vibrations and ruffling the hot ripples across the surface of the golden wheel. The heavenly king tower shook incessantly, shedding thousands of beams of light that, like chains breaking free, snapped apart. Even everyone heard the sounds of glass falling to the ground and shattering into pieces. Hum hum hum. The terrifying divinity surged out from the golden light wheel in a mighty flood. It was so intense that the temperature in the entire divine palace began to rise. The golden wheel roared forth, and in its flight, the flames were thrown backward by inertia, pulling out a tail like that of a comet. And the scene at this moment caused the entire divine palace, inside and out, to fall into silence. Jiao Shaokaiu, Nan Luo, and Wang Kuyu slightly narrowed their eyes, watching as the four royal divine weapons prison lotus wind fire golden light wheel shot out from the divine palace. The terrifying pressure rolled out like a landslide and tsunami. Li Chei's eyes twinkled slightly with astonishment, but he remained motionless. Because he didn't feel any malice from the prison lotus wind fire golden light wheel. It seemed that this divine weapon was merely attracted by the purple flame serpent spear in XIXI's hand. It was the attraction of divine weapons of the same origin. Thus, Li Chei made no move. But the others didn't know, and Nan Luo's face changed slightly. With a flicker of his fingers, flames suddenly blazed in his eyes and on his body. Golden inferno glazed body. 5 streaks of fire shot rapidly towards the wind fire golden light wheel like lightning. Hiss hiss hiss. But as the wind fire golden light wheel spun, the divine fire light he shot out exploded instantly, forming like a starburst. Boom! The wind fire golden light wheel was too fast. Countless waves of air were pushed aside, and many children's faces showed signs of panic. XIXI, on the other hand, showed no fear at all, with her big eyes fluttering, even though she claimed the wheel was beckoning her. But in fact, it was she who beckoned the wheel with her fingers. On XIXI's shoulder, the butterfly spread its wings, like a little cat puffed up with anxiety. By her side, Elder Jiao Shaokaiu of the authentic divine sect narrowed his eyes, which were murky. He did not stop the prison lotus wind fire golden light wheel like Nan Luo but looked at XIXI with a hint of surprise. As if he had seen a treasure. Actually, to be able to induce the movement of the prison lotus wind fire golden light wheel? It was as if the golden light wheel itself was eager to acknowledge a master. Elder Jiao hardly ever saw the golden light wheel manifest such an anomaly. Whoosh! As expected. With a majestic momentum, the wind fire golden light wheel, with its roiling flames, stopped abruptly when it neared XIXI's small body. It rotated silently, hovering in front of XIXI. The flames burned, hot and scorching, but XIXI felt not even a hint of the heat. The golden light wheel spun, a gentle breeze stirring, causing the little strands of hair in front of XIXI's forehead to flutter constantly. The others, even Li Chei, at a close distance, could feel the scorching heat from the golden light wheel, that sense of containing a terrifying power capable of melting mountains and boiling seas. As if it wanted to repel everyone and favor only XIXI. Li Chei couldn't help but be speechless. This golden light wheel really knows how to play favorites. Hum hum hum. Inside the divine palace, the golden celestial tower seemed somewhat embarrassed and angry, with divinity interwoven, myriad golden beams entangled together, seemingly turning into golden chains, and amidst the clanging sounds, the wind fire golden light wheel was relocked. Like pulling back an overexcited dog, it was gradually pulled back into the divine palace. Rumble rumble. The commotion gradually died down, and the golden wheel quieted down. All around the palace, there was silence. XIXI pouted, glancing at the golden heavenly king tower with dissatisfaction, as though a toy that was about to be hers had been snatched away. Elder Jiao's eyes were filled with fascination, and he saw XIXI as if he were looking at a treasure. Nan Luo dispelled the prison fire-glazed body and exhaled, finally calming down. Now, he also vaguely understood something. XIXI. Could the resonance be a bit high? Nan Luo's heart throbbed. This wind fire golden light wheel had burst forth from the four sovereigns' 8 arms prison lotus wrathful third prince mysterious temple. It could be said to have deep ties with the mysterious temple. Being able to draw out the golden light wheel. The resonance between XIXI and the third prince temple god could exceed expectations. But Elder Jiao shook his head, hard to say. Resonance with the temple god is unpredictable, it all depends on the temple god, not on the divine weapon. But, this little girl, at least has an inherent advantage when it comes to the temple god and divine weapon. Good girl, good girl. Elder Jiao's face, withered like old wood, couldn't help but show a radiant smile. Nan Luo could feel Elder Jiao's admiration. His heart stirred slightly, and he couldn't help but ask, Elder Jiao, I wonder, does this girl have a chance to become the last direct disciple of the sect master? Elder Jiao immediately understood Nan Luo's thoughts upon hearing this. He stroked his beard. The affair of the sect master taking his last disciple has indeed been the talk of the town, and as a supreme expert of the Lingnan circuit, the sect master's taking on a disciple has indeed caught the attention of many powers. This little girl has a great chance. An innate great grandmaster martial body is a rarity throughout the entire Lingnan circuit, he said with a smile. Nan Luo, hearing this, let out a long sigh of relief, feeling joy in his heart as if a weight had been lifted. Li Che, on the other hand, listened with a flicker in his gaze. Chapter 472. Sect Master Great Deity. Those who were called Great Deity were existences of the divine embryo realm. Nan Luo wanted XIXI to become a disciple of a divine fetus Great Deity. Seemingly aware of the emotional fluctuations in Li Che, Nan Luo looked over with a smile and said, the sect master of the authentic Qianyuan divine sect still has one spot for a direct disciple, and after accepting this disciple, the sect master will no longer take on any more disciples. The sect master has set up a trial in Dao City to recruit disciples, XIXI could go there and give it a try. What if she succeeds? XIXI's talent is extraordinary, whether it is her divinity or martial path talent, both are exceptional. Becoming a disciple of a great deity allows for better development. And better protection. Nan Luo spoke earnestly. Li Che is XIXI's father, so naturally, this news had to be made clear to him. As a father, he naturally hoped for his daughter to have better prospects. Li Che's thoughts stirred slightly. Indeed, he had some ideas in his mind. Nan Luo's gaze flickered and he said, XIXI beat up Ji Moli's youngest son. Even disregarding Ji Moli, just considering Ji Haihui's mother, that dragon maiden from the dragon god clan with a volatile temper, will definitely come seeking trouble with XIXI afterward. The dragon god clan are known for their explosive temperaments and domineering attitudes, and they do not reason with others. Now that XIXI has beaten up the dragon maiden's son, that dragon maiden will surely be enraged. If that dragon maiden truly comes, it will indeed pose a considerable threat to XIXI. Thus, if XIXI can become a disciple to a great deity, only then would her safety be somewhat assured. Even if Ji Moli himself shows up, he would need to give face to the sect master great deity. Nan Luo said gravely. Upon hearing this, Li Che fell silent. Beside him, Jiao Shaokai's action of stroking his beard momentarily stopped. That lass also beat up Ji Moli's youngest son, Ji Haihui. Jiao Shaokai looked at little XIXI in astonishment and could not help but be speechless. It seemed this lass was also a troublemaker. XIXI, however, was quite excited, clutching her chubby little fists. That little servant made a bet with me, and when he lost, he refused to admit it. Turned into a turtle. Humph, just like what little fatty Zhou Peng said, if you don't honor a bet, you have no little Gigi. Li Che's face darkened at the side. Did little fatty teach you to say that? XIXI nodded earnestly. Li Che glanced at little fatty Zhou Peng, who was stuffing his mouth with a steamed bun. What kind of nonsense he dared teach XIXI? Scared, Zhou Peng belatedly lifted his head, feeling an inexplicable shiver down his spine, and the bun in his hand suddenly lost its appeal. Beside them, Yuni, seemingly noticing Li Che's gaze, pursed her lips and took a step to distance herself from Zhou Peng. That Ji Haihui, after all, is just a 5-year-old child. It's normal for him to be a sore loser and lose his temper over a bet. What does it matter if he acts like a brat? Jiao Shaokai chuckled, his beard stroking resuming. Hearing how little Prince Ji Haihui came to pay respects with a great grandmaster and was beaten to a bruised and swollen face by XIXI, and left in disgrace, his mood lightened considerably. After all, the Golden Light subsect also represented the face of the divine sect. XIXI, this little lass, had reclaimed face for the divine sect, and as an elder, Xiao Shaokaihu could not help but feel elated. Good girl, don't worry, your elder will protect you. Xiao Shaokaihu's gaze softened, and he ruffled Xixi's head. After the temple god resonance convenes, I will take you to Dao City, to the authentic divine sect. By then, nobody will dare to bully Xixi. Xiao Shaokaihu spoke gently. Xixi, however, blushed and shuffled awkwardly. All of Xixi's friends are here, can they go too? And Xixi's daddy, mommy, smelly old Chen. Xixi raised her hand and started counting them one by one. Xiao Shaokaihu burst into laughter. This lass! He ruffled Xixi's head again. Xiao Shaokaihu then began to round up the other supreme spiritual children, starting to assess their talents as well as their bone structure, and to provide advice for their future cultivation. In 3 days, the temple god resonance will convene. As Li Che descended from Golden Light Peak, his eyes flickered slightly, his heart could not help but stir. He felt concern, nervousness, and also a touch of anticipation. Outside Golden Light Prefecture City, bean-sized raindrops cascaded from the heavens above. A black speck slowly expanded, thick black chi rolled out from it, and gradually, a massive vortex of death chi formed, churning wildly. Figures emerged from it. One large, one small. The larger figure, dressed in a black robe with lush and dense black hair spilling down to the waist and a white mask veiling the face, was marked with a blood-red 7. It was Yuan Jinggong, the corpse god envoy hidden within Golden Light Prefecture City, undiscovered by the bull demon. Yuan Jinggong was leading a child by the hand. The child had pale, luminescent skin, lifeless eyes, and thick dark circles. His shoulders sagged, and he was dressed in a red belly band and loose pants. His thick hair was tied into 2 buns on the head. The authentic divine sect sent that persistent outer sect great elder Xiao Shaokaihu, that old chap who fell from golden body transformation to primordial spirit metamorphosis. Yuan Jinggong spoke indifferently. This old man is not to be underestimated. Pretending to be dying yet stubbornly clinging to life, if he fights desperately, it would be quite frightening. Our main goal this trip is the temple god of the Third Prince Temple. If possible, so be it, if not, we must still give it a try. Yuan Jinggong turned to look at the child he was leading. Do you understand? The child with dark circles shrugged, got it. To catch a strand of the Third Prince Temple god's divinity? For me, that's a piece of cake, no difficulty at all. Hearing the child's confident words, Yuan Jinggong's mask seemed to reveal a smile. Chapter 473 Temple God Resonance Temple Control Bureau, Kintian Observatory, even King of Quelling Chaos G. Moli has sent children, there's no reason my corpse god cult cannot send children. Yuan Jinggong chuckled softly. But quickly, his laughter turned grim. The corpse god cult's arrangement in Golden Light Prefecture had been completely uprooted. So many chess pieces, all erased. It was as if a skilled chess player had made a move, presenting a checkmate situation, sweeping them all away cleanly. How painful it was! Yuan Jinggong's eyes twisted, the core god cult's years of arrangements had crumbled overnight. How could he be content with this? Underworld. Ox demon and horse face. And divine monkey. Corpse god cult holds no grudge against you. This hatred, I, Yuan Jinggong, will never forget. My corpse god cult, with countless followers, how many can your underworld kill? Under his mask, a fierce killing intent surged tumultuously. Behind him, one after another, black vortexes swirled into existence. The rain began to fall again. Li Che, wearing a bamboo hat, walked along the street, glanced at the sky, and knew it was due to the temple god's restlessness. Otherwise, at this time, the sky should still be sprinkling snowflakes. After leaving Golden Light Peak, Li Che went directly into Mansion City. He went to work at the Kintian Observatory first. At the Kintian Observatory, he saw Tang Ren wearing a red belly band and a hair bun, glaring at Liu Yao with a face full of reluctance. Liu Yao was trying to wrap Tang Ren in red silk. Tang Ren thought the red silk was something for girls, and he was dead set against wrapping it around himself. You know nothing. This is the iconic look of the 8-armed prison lotus furious third prince that I discovered after researching numerous sources. Holding a spear, standing on a golden wheel, wearing a red belly band, wrapped in red silk. This is the third prince. If you want to increase the compatibility with the temple god resonance, you need to dress like this. Liu Yao, without further ado, draped the red silk over Tang Ren. This red silk was also a divine weapon, specially crafted by a divine craftsman of forge weapon, although of average quality, but when divinity was employed, it could be agitated. Seeing this, an idea struck Li Che. This thing, perhaps should also prepare one for XIXI, having just the fire-tip spear seems not enough. Lord Lu, may I know if there is any more red silk? I would like to get one for my daughter, to increase her compatibility. Li Che said with a gentle smile. Seeing Li Che, Tang Ren looked like he had found a savior, and quickly snatched off the red silk from his body, handing it over to Li Che like treasure. Uncle Li Che, no need to trouble my master, this red silk, just take it for Sister XIXI. Tang Ren was excited. Lu Yao's face darkened. Feeling a bit tired, he brought Tang Ren over, just trying his luck and not really expecting Tang Ren to create any miracles. It's up to you, I, as your teacher, have done everything I should have done. Whether you can gain a bit of opportunity at this Temple God Resonance Conference is all up to you. Lu Yao waved his hand dismissively. Li Che did not hesitate and directly took the red silk handed over by Tang Ren. Lu Yao actually thought that Li Che's daughter had a greater chance of standing out at the Temple God Resonance Conference. Li Che smiled, bid farewell to the two of them, and ducked back into the workshop to continue making a pink immortal crafted fire god cannon for XIXI. After finishing work, he returned to the alleys of Falling Flower Alley to keep busy. At night, Li Che would bring the soundly sleeping XIXI to the Fire Eye Mystical Awestruck Spirit Ape Strange Temple to give XIXI special training. He severely beat up the Purple Flame Flood Dragon Snake with the Fire Tip Spear. He urged the Purple Flame Serpent Spear Fire Tip Spear to unleash its power to accelerate the fusion of soldier and body with XIXI. Li Che was even somewhat expectant. Whether XIXI's martial body could transform into an innate martial saint body under the fusion with the Purple Flame Serpent Spear Fire Tip Spear. It was a physique above that of the innate Great Grandmaster martial body, at the level of the innate martial saint. But this was no small challenge. For 3 consecutive days, when XIXI woke up in the morning, she felt her arms were sore and swollen, and she could vaguely hear mournful whimpers from the little spear in her hands. Every day, XIXI would gently pat her chubby arms and comfort the little spear. XIXI will grow up fast and become strong enough to play with you, little spear. XIXI said it very seriously. The Purple Flame Serpent Spear Fire Tip Spear felt comforted, and even its attitude towards XIXI softened. She absolutely adored this little soldier master. Stick and carrot. It was so irresistibly effective. Fire Eye Mystical Awestruck Spirit Ape Strange Temple. Thunderous rumbles. The hot blood surged, and the heat waves stirred up violent whines, tearing apart the air currents endlessly. Li Che stepped out with hands behind his back, and in an instant, his figure seemed blurred. The void itself seemed to warp under his step, and the air almost got stomped down into a deep depression. An explosive bang resounded. The air burst into ripples that spread outward. Li Che kept landing his feet in the air. Countless phantom bodies slowly converged, finally landing on the ground. Li Che's chest swelled up vigorously, and then with an inhalation and exhalation, a majestic flow of air whirled, causing the temple candles to flicker. Martial Saint Ultimate Study, Link's Yubaki Step, mastered. Li Che twisted his spine, and his big tendons snapped like thunder. This Martial Saint Ultimate Study is truly not bad. It's not merely a technique of movement, hidden within the technique, there is also the power of attack. Baki Step, 1 step 1 kill, 8 steps shake the heavenly dragon. Li Che's toes touched down, and the air seemed to explode, whimpers among the surging waves of air. With a light leap, Li Che felt his whole body become nimble. Chapter 474. Whether it was moving speed or darting from place to place, he was much more agile than before. Compared to Cloud Harrier treading on clouds, it was indeed much stronger. After stretching for a moment, Li Che appeared in front of the Spirit Monkey Temple God with a flicker. Every day he touched it. The expression on the Spirit Monkey Temple God's face was utterly one of utter despondency, accompanied by roaring laughter. Li Che clenched the thunder chess piece and returned to the small courtyard halfway up Zhanglei Peak. Whoosh whoosh. The sky was still pouring rain. The dark clouds were thick, seemingly with flashing lightning rolling among them. 3 days passed in the blink of an eye. Today was the officially announced day for the start of the Temple God Resonance Conference. After Li Che came back, he went to the kitchen to make breakfast. Then he went to wake XIXI and his wife. XIXI, disturbed in her sleep, was quite angry, pouting and sitting on the bed with her arms folded, very unhappy. Zhang Ye, on the other hand, was smiling gently, braiding Xixi's hair and then changing her into a red bib. "Breakfast is ready," Li Che called out. Only then did Xixi get over her annoyance from waking up, scampering towards the dining table and beginning to eat breakfast, her unhappiness vanishing like smoke. Indeed, only fine food could cure a bad mood. "Husband, do you think I need to dress up more?" Zhang Ye, however, was not in the mood for breakfast. Today was a big day for the entire Golden Light Prefecture. Now she was not a common person who knew nothing, involved in cultivation. She also knew the importance of the Temple Control Bureau and the Qintian Observatory, and she understood what the young prince of King Pingluan, the one her daughter had beaten, was aiming for. All for today. The Temple God Resonance Conference of the Four Royal Mysterious Temples. Zhang Ye was actually very worried. After all, this was about sending their child to the terrifying and dangerous Four Royal Mysterious Temples. Those mysterious temples, it was said that even a great Grand Master could encounter danger if not careful. Wasn't it even more dangerous for a child? As a mother, Zhang Ye's worries were natural. Li Che watched Xixi happily eating her noodles with sunny side-up eggs and couldn't help but smile. It's still missing something. In Li Che's mind, he couldn't help thinking of some details from his previous life. Then, with a grab of his 5 fingers, spiritual wood appeared in his hand, thin as a cicada's wing, which he quickly carved with a carving knife. In a moment, a small belt made of connected lotus petals was formed. Li Che tied the belt of lotus petals around Xixi's waist. Xixi, surprised, was looking at the small flowers blooming around her waist, very happy and very fond of them. She even twirled around on the spot. "Daddy, Xixi has flowers. These are the small flowers Daddy carved for Xixi, happy." The cuteness of the little girl came so suddenly and simply. After breakfast, Li Che lifted the oiled paper umbrella, holding Xixi, and headed for Golden Light Peak. Outside the courtyard, Li Qingshan was waiting early with Lu Qi and Nurse Momo. Zhang Ye did not stay at home either, linking arms with Nurse Momo. She also planned to watch the Temple God Resonance Conference. After all, it involved their daughter, and she was very concerned and worried. Old Chen did not go to work today either. He took a leave, and accompanied everyone to watch the Temple God Conference. Everyone descended the mountain. At the gate archway of the mountain gate, horses and carriages were already waiting. Shangguan Qinghong drives a luxurious carriage, and seeing Li Che's family descending the mountain, she waved from afar. Seeing Shangguan Qinghong, Xixi was also very happy. The young and the elder were screaming and stomping on the shaft of the carriage, then they both climbed inside the carriage. Shangguan Qinghong treated Xixi as her own little sister, and was very nervous about Xixi participating in the Temple God Resonance, scrambling through all her knowledge to remind Xixi of some things to be careful about regarding the temple gods. Trying to help as a sister as much as she could. Li Qingshan, along with Nurse Momo and Lu Qi, took another carriage. Before getting on the carriage, Lu Qi gave the carriage where Xixi was a profound look. "Come on up," Li Qingshan said. Lu Qi nodded solemnly and climbed into the carriage. In front of the gates of the Golden Light subsect, a variety of carriages filled the area, and noble families like the Qin family, Hai family, Gong family and Gongyang family had arranged carriages, waiting for their family's spirit children who were stationed to cultivate in the Golden Light subsect. Besides, the Golden Light subsect had specially prepared carriages to gather the spirit children together to travel collectively. The children grouped together, a bunch of little chatterboxes, whispering and chattering non-stop. The rain falling from the sky could not wash away their enthusiasm. The children's laughter, it barely seemed like they were going to attend some Temple God Resonance conference, more like they were going for a spring outing. Jiao Shaokai, who also saw Li Che's family, just nodded from afar as a greeting. He alone in a carriage, with the prison lotus wind fire golden light wheel under his control. Wearing a conical hat and dressed in a short coat, the burly charioteer holding the reins had a calm demeanor. Li Che took a look at this charioteer and could feel that there was something extraordinary about him, containing a terrifying vitality within that was yet to be unleashed. Moreover, Li Che did not feel any hint of divine power from this charioteer, which meant, this was a martial artist who strictly followed the path of martial arts. Exactly what cultivation he had, Li Che actually could not see through. After all the children were settled in carriages. They then set out on their journey. Dozens of carriages, formidably lined up into a convoy, moved out from the foot of Divine Sect Mountain. The wheels turned, splashing mud, shattering puddles, and entered the mansion city of Golden Light Prefecture, then left the mansion city. The Divine Guard army mobilized, separating the civilians to allow the convoy to travel smoothly. In the Temple Control Bureau. Chapter 475. Zhu Chaoyang also took Tai Shankai and got into the carriage, following the convoy. Kintian Observatory. Liu Yao then took Tang Ren and followed by carriage. Carriages converged from the side of the streets one after another, like rivers flowing into the sea, merging into the convoy. City Lord's Mansion. Young Prince Ji Haihui, dressed in splendid clothing, had his purple dragon god pupils shimmering slightly. This was the first time he had stepped out of the City Lord's Mansion in recent days. The death of Xue Dufu truly frightened him. Ji Haihui did not want to die, so he holed up inside the City Lord's Mansion, ensuring his own safety, waiting for the Temple God Resonance Conference. Taking a deep breath, the rain was torrential, the world moistened. But Ji Haihui felt as if the blood in his body was slightly trembling, as if about to revive. Finally, the Temple God Resonance Conference is about to begin. After the conference ends, I can finally leave this cursed place of Golden Light Prefecture. Ji Haihui said. He disliked Golden Light Prefecture. He had suffered the greatest humiliation of his life here. Not having the courage to face this humiliation, he chose to be a shrinking turtle. Thus, to wash away this shame, the only way was to leave Golden Light Prefecture, seek stronger forces, and then come back for revenge. Prince Ji Haihui's purple pupils glinted as he recalled Xixi's devilish face, shuddered, and then climbed into the extremely luxurious carriage. Su Huili had been sitting in the carriage early, waiting. Upon seeing Ji Haihui, he smiled warmly and said, "Relax, young prince, your father has prepared an ace up your sleeve. This time at the Temple God Resonance, you won't lose to that girl." Su Huili consoled him. The carriage was driven by a Grand Master charioteer. 6 black-armored blood guards riding flood dragon horses, shouldering side knives with thick black armor, followed majestically. The sound of horse hooves exploded, escorting the carriage, forcibly cutting through the convoy like a sharp black blade. The governor of Temple Control Bureau, Xiejing, dressed in his official uniform, rode a flood dragon horse, leading the way at the very front of the carriage convoy with other supervisors and officials, also riding flood dragon horses and side knives. The convoy left Golden Light Prefecture City amidst swift wind and rain. However, the speed of the convoy did not decrease but instead increased even more. The blood within the flood dragon horses seemed to boil, the pace of their hooves speeding up. Wham wham wham! The rain was shattered and exploded into a mist. The coach began to shake violently. As the carriage left the city, the many children inside the carriage all fell silent. Perhaps they finally sensed the oppressive and tense atmosphere, several spirit children's small bodies trembling slightly. Inside the coach, Xixi unusually became silent. Her head burrowed into Zhang Ye's embrace, letting Zhang Ye gently stroke her. Her hand clenched into a fist. The usually fearless Emperor Xixi now seemed a bit nervous. "Mom, Dad. Xixi is nervous." Xixi blinked her big eyes and said. Li Che rubbed Xixi's head, took out a white thunder chess piece, and placed it in Xixi's hand. "Hold on to this chess piece, it's like Daddy is right beside you. With Daddy here, you don't need to be nervous." Li Che said with a smile. "And you don't have to put too much pressure on yourself, just think of it, as if you are going on a spring outing, even if it does not cause a Temple God resonance, even if you do not receive the Temple God's inheritance, it does not matter. With Daddy here, no one will hurt you. Because, Daddy is super awesome." Li Che said gently. Xixi blinked her eyes, "Really?" Li Che stretched out his pinky finger, and hooked it with Xixi's in a promise. Xixi giggled, and actually felt less nervous. She lifted her chubby lotus arms and said, "Daddy, but..." Little Spear is still trembling, seems really nervous, and it's making Xixi a bit nervous too. Upon hearing this, Li Che gently held Xixi's arm. Then, from his brow's mud pill, divine light flickered. The primordial spirit opened its eyes. The power of divine sense formed a hand in Xixi's arm and slapped down hard on the snarling purple flame flood dragon snake. It sounded almost like swatting a mosquito within the carriage. Zhang Ye and Shang Guan Qinghong were startled by the sound. But Li Che just rubbed Xixi's head. You see, little spear isn't nervous anymore, right? XIXI shook her arm, and immediately broke into bright laughter. She leaned on the carriage window. Looking out at the stormy weather, at Nine Dragons River roaring and splashing waves 100 meters high, she felt not a hint of fear. Facing the temple god? XIXI wasn't afraid of anything anymore. Because Daddy will protect XIXI. Chapter 476. The Nine Dragons River outside the city and the Nine Dragons River excavated within the city were entirely two different rivers. One was constantly tempestuous, with waves exploding continuously, roaring endlessly, undulating vigorously, and surging with hidden currents, such that even Grandmaster warriors dared not plunge into its depths. The other, however, was extremely calm, resembling a tame colt, utterly devoid of temper, subject to manipulation at will. Yet, in reality, both were the Nine Dragons River. Many carriages approached the riverbank at a specific spot, a massive cliff stone, beaten by the river into a rugged and fierce appearance, clearly angular as if carved by steel blades. This giant rock was none other than a stone from the eight-armed prison Lotus Furious Third Prince's mysterious temple, closest to the heart of the river. Standing here, one could distinctly feel that turbulent, surging, and extremely volatile divinity. The people of Golden Light Prefecture had named this stone Listening Fury Cliff Stone. Standing on this immense cliff stone, broad as a plateau, one could hear the furiously enraged roars of the Third Crown Prince. It was so terrifying that it made one's liver and gall shatter and one's spirit break. Thus, it was called Listening Fury Cliff Stone. Carriage after carriage dashed through the wind and rain, with rain slapping on the cliff stone, the water flowing like a waterfall rapidly inclining towards the great river. Nan Luo was the first to step out, walking and parting the rain curtain between heaven and earth. Following him was Elder Jiao Shaokaiu, who was suppressing and sealing the prison Lotus Wind Fire Golden Light Wheel. The charioteer, after comforting the flood dragon horse, was surprisingly carrying a large spear and silently followed the elder, his muscles twitching, his blood surging, emitting a woeful chi. This charioteer was a great grandmaster. He silently guarded Jiao Shaokaiu. After Nan Luo were Wang Kuyu and several other elders of the divine sect. Wang Kuyu did not compete for the spotlight with Nan Luo, and although he was a divine primordial true person, he was very low-key, standing together with Li Qingshan, Zhu Hongdou, Zhang Qingzheng, and Wang Wuyu, four elders of the divine sect. One could say that the high-level power of the Golden Light subsect was all gathered here. Following them, the Temple Control Bureau side, led by the Grandmaster Zhu Chaoyang from Dao City Supervisor, with Xiejing standing to the side, Tai Shankei with crossed arms, lips curled, displaying disdain while standing amongst the crowd. The Qintian Observatory side was led by Supervisor Hu Yingyu, with Liu Yao, Lin Qiu and others standing quietly on the side. Liu Yao, despite being a divine primordial true person, did not outshine others like Zhu Chaoyang, leading Tang Ren and quietly drawing back. From the direction of the city lord's mansion, Su Huili accompanied by young Prince Ji Haihui, alighted from the carriage, standing at the forefront. Whoosh whoosh! The rain roared and washed away. Thud! A peal of bell thunder exploded. Zhang Qingzheng, dressed in a Confucian robe, stepped forward from the divine sex formation. His face, as bitter as Coptus and utterly expressionless, was as cold as could be. He chanted something loudly, his voice rising and falling, enwrapped in overwhelming divinity, echoing between heaven and earth, resounding in everyone's ears. After the carriage halted, the adults each led their spirit children down from the carriages. Li Che, holding XIXI, alighted from the carriage, while Zhangya and Shang Guanqinghong did not disembark but also held an oiled paper umbrella, squatting on the wagon looking out. Crack crack! The thunder and lightning roared, the wind and rain bellowed. The flickering lightning seemed like a blue dragon darting through the dark clouds. The Divine Guard army, holding weapons, spread out in the surroundings, maintaining order while also displaying the majesty of the city lord's mansion. As an elder in charge of rituals at the divine sect, Zhang Qingzheng was experienced in ceremonial matters. A rosewood long table was set up in the storm, arranged at the edge of the Listening Fury cliff stone, facing the Nine Dragons River, and directly opposite was that temple shrouded in the storm, barely visible, its supremely terrifying divinity as if tearing the heavens and earth apart. Burning incense, offering prayers, Zhang Qingzheng's expression was grave. Nan Luo, later joining as the sect master, also added an incense stick, inserting it into the incense burner. The wind and rain howled, huge raindrops falling, yet unable to extinguish the 3 sticks of incense planted in the incense burner. These were special material incenses, burning not ash, but divinity. The rising smoke surged skyward, slowly isolating the wind and rain surrounding the listening fury cliff stone. The roaring 9 Dragons river seemed to have quieted down. The raging waves became calm. It was as if those terrifying beings, locked at the bottom of the river, were gradually quieting down, beginning to listen to the sacrificial phrases, calming their hearts. When all rituals were completed, in front of listening fury cliff stone, there was a complete calm. The murmurs of many people resounded, curiously observing the strange power that shielded the raging rain. Li Che looked up, feeling quite amazed. Was this really communicating with the mysterious temple? Communicating with the temple god of the 4 royal mysterious temples? Wasn't it said that the mysterious temples needed to be conquered before normal communication could occur, just like that temple on Golden Light Peak? This 3rd prince's mysterious temple, which hadn't been conquered yet, could still initiate normal communication? The atmosphere was very quiet, no one spoke. Even the noble families like the Qin family, the Hai family, and others within Golden Light Prefecture City remained composed and quiet, not daring to speak loudly. Finally, everyone's eyes began to stir. Because, the old man holding a golden wheel in his hand moved, his white-haired head and simple long robe stepping out into the fierce wind. In the city lord's mansion, Su Huili pulled young Prince Ji Haihui by his side, wearing a gentle smile, slightly bowing to Jiao Shaokaiu. Young Prince Ji Haihui's purple eyes gleamed like mirrors as he followed in bowing. Chapter 477. On the other side. Within the Temple Control Bureau camp, Zhu Chaoyang, Xiejing, and others were also gripping their side knives, bowing deeply one after another. The Kintian Observatory did the same. At the same time, as if it were contagious, everyone who stepped down from the carriage instinctively saluted with clasped hands, being courteous and respectful. Li Che, holding Xixi's hand, saluted in a proper manner as well. Xixi, curious, tilted her head upward and then whispered to Li Che in a quiet voice, "Daddy, the wheel smash is seducing Xixi again. Can Xixi play with it?" Xixi's voice was soft, childlike, and cautious. However, with not a few experts present, possessing strong cultivation, Xixi's voice was as startling as thunder. Many gazes turned their way. Li Che shook his head and also lowered his voice, saying softly, "No, the wheel smash has serious business to attend to." Xixi immediately looked disappointed. Oh! Listening to this amusing dialogue between father and daughter, many couldn't help but twitch their mouths. The elders from the noble families, the Temple Control Bureau and Void Aspect, Divine Minister experts, as well as people from the City Lord's mansion including City Lord Su Huili, were all somewhat at a loss for words. They recognized that the wheel smash mentioned by the father and daughter was likely the prison lotus wind fire golden light wheel that Jiao Shaokaiu was suppressing with his palm seal. They took the father and daughter's boasts as nothing but braggadocio. Although Xixi's talent was outstanding, being the Jiazi child prodigy, it was not an easy feat to command the prison lotus wind fire golden light wheel. Although vague rumors had spread from the top of Golden Light Peak, no one took them seriously. They considered it a stunt by the divine sect to intimidate other competitors out of the running for the temple god resonance. Jiao Shaokaiu, however, smiled slightly. His lips quivered, and a hint of surprise flashed in his eyes. That's right. He was sweating profusely. The golden light wheel was truly struggling. It was constantly trying to break free from the seal. Jiao Shaokaiu had to exert all his might, all but forgotten from his infancy, just to suppress the wheel. Otherwise, by now the golden light wheel would have already burst forth, spitting sparks and shooting towards Xixi. At this moment, Jiao Shaokaiu couldn't help but eagerly anticipate the start of the temple god resonance. He wondered, could this girl really assemble the divine armor set of the 8-armed prison lotus furious third prince? But even Jiao Shaokaiu wasn't sure what all the components of the Fury Third Prince's divine armor set were. The only famous ones known were 3 pieces, the purple flame serpent spear, the prison lotus wind fire golden light wheel, and the indestructible lotus hell sky silk. This information had been obtained from other mysterious temples. Further exploration was needed to uncover the exact components of the divine armor set. Of course, it would be quite impressive if even one of the 4 royal divine weapons were to appear in this temple god resonance. Feeling the struggle of the golden light wheel, Jiao Shaokaiu let out a breath, not in the mood for further talk. He turned around and walked to the edge of the listening fury cliff stone, gazing towards the temple surging within the river's heart. The next moment, he released the seal and, using the seal formula researched by the divine sect, his powerful primordial spirit ignited with divine light, scattering divine sense while pinching the seal formula. Under the watchful eyes of all, the rim of the prison lotus wind fire golden light wheel began spinning rapidly, with sparks flying intermittently. Slowly they became more numerous, and with a roar, flames ignited, shooting up towards the sky. It was as if it turned into a spread-winged phoenix. Brilliantly dazzling and blindingly bright. The terrifying rank oppression of the four royal divine weapons, like a landslide and tsunami, poured down, whipping up howling winds and waves on the river. Whoosh! The golden light wheel soared upwards, sounding as if metallic friction were occurring, with a continuous ting-ting-ting-ting noise. Subsequently, it turned into a blazing meteor that kept circling in the river's sky. With a swoosh, it shot towards the listening fury cliff stone. It swept over everyone's heads, kicking up a hot and scalding wind. The sound of commotion thundered non-stop. Suhuili's eyes narrowed, and he stepped forward to shield young Prince Ji Haihui. On the other side, Zhu Chaoyang's body shook with surging blood and qi, with divine gang shooting forth. His formidable great grandmaster aura wreaked havoc incessantly. However, the golden light wheel paid them no heed. In the sky, it left a trail that burned the air to nothing, appearing above Xixi and Li Che. Xixi tilted back her head, her chubby baby-cheeked face beaming with a bright and happy smile. "Daddy, the wheel smash has come for Xixi." Li Che, holding Xixi, felt a bit helpless. This girl. She had quite a flair for the dramatic. He, Li Che, was such a low-profile person, so how did he end up with such a high-profile daughter? The golden light wheel hovered above Xixi, sparks flying constantly. The expressions of many around them had completely changed. The prison lotus wind fire golden light wheel. It was making such a spectacle? Was it truly so fond of this girl? Could it be that this girl was the reincarnation of the third prince temple god? If that were the case, then this temple god resonance would have no meaning at all. She cannot possibly be the reincarnation of the temple god. The reincarnation of a temple god cannot possibly look like this, nor could the disposition be like this, said the shadow guard true person, who had landed beside the young prince Ji Haihui with the flickering dragon god eyes. Every temple god upon reincarnation, the first thing to do is, to slay the father and mother, cutting off all causal ties in the world, explained the shadow guard true person. Ji Haihui took a breath of relief upon hearing these words. As long as she is not the reincarnation, then I still have a chance. My father has prepared an ace up his sleeve for me. I will not fail the trust he has placed in me. Ji Haihui affirmed fiercely. For this temple god resonance, Ji Haihui had prepared for a long time. Chapter 478. This scene provoked many to flicker their eyes in astonishment and wonder. On the other side, Jiao Shaokaihu finally completed the sealing technique, as divinity burst forth, and a dazzlingly brilliant golden core rose from the inner scene of the energy center. In an instant, an overpowering pressure, almost suffocating everyone present, rampaged violently through the area. Even Shadow Guard true person felt a sense of suppression. Divine origin golden body. Golden body transformation. Though he had fallen back to the stage of primordial spirit metamorphosis, the pressure still possessed the strength and majesty of the golden body transformation. Ding ding ding. Sparks flew and scattered, as if phoenixes and Lewin birds were crying out. The golden light wheel, under control, shot out, attacking towards the great river above. Whoosh whoosh. The river roared tumultuously. The golden light wheel, like a proud sun, kept charging towards the direction of the mysterious temple, its speed increasing ever faster. Jiao Shaokaihu's forehead was covered in beads of sweat, and his complexion was extremely grave. At this moment, it was an extremely dangerous time. If someone were to attack him in this instant, Jiao Shaokaihu would be powerless to resist and would surely be killed. The coachman grandmaster slightly bent his body forward, like a fierce tiger ready to pounce, his powerful vital energy surging like a tidal wave, and his sharp eyes were filled with a murderous intent. It seemed as if he would unleash his full power to kill anyone who dared approach at this moment. Boom! Jiao Shaokaihu's whole body trembled, and he staggered backward 2 steps. He then sat down cross-legged on the ground. Closed his eyes. Why did this temple god resonance need the divine sect to initiate it? It's because only the divine sect possessed the secret to manipulating the golden light wheel. This was also one of the reasons Ji Haihui previously humbly visited with Xuetufu and did not dare to be too presumptuous. The golden light wheel blasted towards the mysterious temple, seemingly twisted by an invisible force. Although it was only a short distance, it took an endlessly long time. Gradually, a thick fog began to form on the surface of the river, spreading from both sides like the curtains on a stage, enveloping the entire river. Rumble. Inside the strange cave, it seemed as though one after another terrifying black shadow flitted by, with a powerful and frightening aura seeping out just a bit, enough to make one's hair stand on end and spirit to extinguish. The strange cave of the four royal mysterious temples. At this moment, everyone became tense. A mysterious temple's most horrifying aspect was the strange cave, and if one couldn't control its spread, extremely terrifying dangers could arise. Children, be careful. While everyone's minds were drawn by the strange cave, terrified by the dreadful beings within the cave, Jiao Shaokaiu, seated on the ground, slowly opened his eyes. His gaze was turbid. He raised his hand and beckoned. The prison lotus wind fire golden light wheel, along the path it had previously sped through, now slowly became visible. Like a knife, it sliced open a narrow path through the strange cave, creating a passageway. At the end of this path hung the rapidly spinning, sparking golden light wheel. This four royal divine weapon kept trembling incessantly. It buzzed and whirred as it spun, as if it was trying to carve out a path with all its might. Line up, those who wish to undergo the temple god resonance, follow me. Jiao Shaokaiu spoke in a deep voice. The entire process was no different from the temple god resonance of previous years. But Jiao Shaokaiu was not careless, he was very solemn. Although people could obtain the divine method from the mysterious temple and gain great opportunities, it also came with dangers. And the temple god resonance was the least dangerous way to detect them. But that didn't mean there were no dangers at all. As the words ended, the listening fury cliff stone erupted with restless noises. Many spirit children began to feel fear and hesitation, mainly because the strange cave was too terrifying, just one glance could make one feel an endless oppression. However, the elders in the clan were not willing to let their children shrink back. Temple God resonance is an opportunity to change one's fate. If you have the chance to acquire the Temple God's opportunity, even a small one can elevate the upper limit of your cultivation. Parents all hoped their sons and daughters would soar like dragons. Of course, they would not allow their children to shrink back. Supreme spiritual children from Golden Light Prefecture City like Qin Fenghuo, Hai Chaosheng, Gong Yuan Liang, Gong Yangshu, and others stepped forward first. Little Fatty Zhoupeng, Yuni, Zhong Liuxiu, and other divine children and spirit children from the authentic Qianyuan divine sect also lined up in succession. They all had confidence, believing in their own talents. At the same time, divine children and spirit children from other mansion cities and state cities also arrived. There were quite a number of them, indeed. The dapping quickly filled up with children. Liu Qi bowed to Nurse Momo on the carriage, his face solemn and respectful. Nurse Momo, Cheer is going. Liu Qi said. Nurse Momo gave Liu Qi a glance, her eyes soft. Go ahead, do not burden yourself too much. Liu Qi was stunned. Could old lady Mu have already known something? He pursed his lips, nodded solemnly, and walked towards the dapping. Tai Shankei from the Temple Control Bureau, this divine child from the divine capital, had a contemptuous attitude towards other divine children as he walked towards the dapping. Tang Ren was also thrown out there by Liu Yao. In succession, children started to gather on the dapping, instantly drawing everyone's attention. The dapping suddenly became lively. Li Che held XIXI, XIXI, do you want to go? If you don't want to go, we won't. Li Che asked. At these words, XIXI wrapped her arms around Li Che's neck. Daddy, don't worry, XIXI is very strong too. XIXI gave Li Che's cheek a big smack with a kiss. Daddy, now watch Emperor XIXI's performance. XIXI wriggled out of Li Che's arms and hopped down. Wearing a red belly band and with two buns in her hair, she happily scurried towards the center of the dapping. XIXI! Come here! Gong Yuan Liang and Gong Yangshu, seeing XIXI, immediately waved in excitement. Chapter 479. XIXI walked up to them, hands on her hips, her belly pushed out, looking every bit like the boss lady. Li Che could only look helplessly at the excited girl. After all, this girl had no idea what fear was. Temple God resonance. Li Chei's eyes flickered as he looked at the dense mysterious K. Inside his chest, each Dao fruit trembled, alerting him to a terrifying threat. Without a doubt, the temple guardian cursed corpses within that mysterious K were extremely horrifying and powerful. Fortunately, this royal mysterious temple had not lost control. The mysterious K was confined within a certain range. If this mysterious K were to become agitated, Golden Light Prefecture City would likely fall into a terribly dangerous situation. Mysterious Quebec, what exactly is it? And why did this royal mysterious temple appear here? Many doubts surged like a tide, unceasingly overwhelming him. Li Chei shook his head slightly, no longer sensing the mysterious K, no longer pondering over it. His gaze settled on XIXI among the crowd. His eyes saw only his precious daughter. At this moment, he was just like the other parents around him. Like any ordinary parent. Looking forward with eager anticipation at the children participating in the assessment. Jiao Shaokai stood up, glanced at the children bustling behind him as if lining up for a field trip. His expression was solemn. His simplistic long robe fluttered as he then took a step forward. He began walking towards the front. Children, keep up. The next moment, Jiao Shaokai took a step into the mysterious K pathway that had been torn open by the golden light wheel, stepping beyond the empty listening fury cliff stone. A group of children, all wearing red belly bands, stepped up to follow. In an instant, they felt a sensation of weightlessness, with many spirit children screaming out. They looked down to see they were walking suspended in the air, below them the river water torrenting, terrorizing with furious roars. How terrifying! Some spirit children, scared, closed their eyes and trembled. But this spirit child didn't get far before a terrifying repulsive force struck them, ejecting them from the mysterious K pathway and landing them on the cliff stone, stupefied. They then sat on the ground, kicking their feet and began to cry out of heartbreak. Without a doubt, this spirit child's journey of temple god resonance had ended. As the children successively walked the mysterious K path, continuously, more spirit children were repelled and kicked out. Most were ordinary divine talents, mid-grade and low-grade spirit children who sneaked in, trying their luck. They were as if being rejected and expelled by the temple god. In just a short tenjong distance, the future heights of these children were already decided. Cruel yet real. Sometimes, your limit is just another's starting point. The world is just that cruel. Many parents sighed, resignedly picking up their crying children to bring them away. After clearing the low-grade and mid-grade spirit children, on the mysterious K path, what remained were mostly superior grade, supreme spiritual children and divine children. Jiao Shaokai walked in the front, leading the way for the children, his hand forming a seal formula that he had to maintain at all times. Behind him were Ji Haihui with glinting purple eyes, followed by Tai Shankei, little fatty Zhou Peng, Yuni and other divine children. XIXI walked behind Yuni. Big head Lu Qi was silently close beside XIXI. Hai Chao Sheng, Gong Yuan Liang, Gong Yangshu, Huang Si Xiang and other divine sect supreme spiritual children also followed behind Emperor XIXI, all holding their heads high. The demeanor of this group of children was admirable. Jiao Shaokai was quite satisfied. The mysterious K path was very long, the river water turbulently rolling below. The children walked for a while and then became silent, quietly following behind the elder. From afar, the golden light wheel shone like a lighthouse, illuminating the path the children walked through in the mysterious K. Roar roar roar! Within the mysterious K, amid the hazy fog, continuous roaring sounds echoed, as if terrifying black shadows suddenly approached, revealing vague faces from the mysterious fog. Quite a few spirit children screamed in fright. Don't look at them, don't be afraid, don't mind, don't pay attention. Look at the path ahead, look at the golden light wheel. Jiao Shaokai's voice drifted over, calming down the children who were frightened by the vague monsters revealed in the mysterious fog. In the distance, the mysterious temple appeared vividly alive, and one could vaguely see its moss-covered walls and the ancient black tiles. Looking at the dark gloomy temple gate of the mysterious temple. 300 zhang before the mysterious temple. Strong winds rose, the mysterious fog swayed. Jiao Shaokai stopped, breathing heavily, gasping slightly. The golden light wheel kept spinning. Vaguely, it seemed as if one terrifying presence after another cast their gaze from within the mysterious K. If it weren't for the golden light wheel supporting the mysterious K path, the monsters within the strange K might have already been unable to resist making their move. Temple God Resonance. The temple god will present a trial, and if you can pass the trial, you will receive the temple god's gift. Jiao Shaokai's voice was somewhat weary and heavy. Children, go and accept the temple god's trial. Go and strive for the opportunity that belongs to you. The old man's voice became somewhat ethereal. Next, the children who were squeezed on the road to Strange K, 300 yards from the mysterious temple, noticed the old man's voice becoming more and more ethereal. Soon after, they found themselves completely enveloped by a fog. They could no longer see anyone else. They could only see the still spinning, sun-like prison lotus wind fire golden light wheel hanging above their heads. And the mysterious temple shrouded in the fog. Temple God Resonance had officially begun. The mysterious fog filled the air. Xixi blinked her big eyes, hands on hips, her belly instinctively retracting a bit. Hoo. It seemed as if the wind was blowing, but it could not disperse the thick fog. Xixi's hairs stood on end, her heart unintentionally fearing. It seemed like shadows constantly raced around her. All sorts of strange sounds were being made, there were screams, cries of ghosts, and the shasha friction sound of a blunt knife cutting meat. It was the first time fear appeared in Xixi's big eyes. Lu Chi. Liang. Xiaoxiu. Ms. Uni. Little fatty. Xixi called out. However, the friends who were just around her had all disappeared. It was as if they were snatched away by ghosts. Next one to be taken wouldn't be Xixi, would it? Xixi carefully took steps, then picked up her pace, unable to see the path ahead, without any direction around. Xixi looked at the little spear in her arm, waved it, and purple flames leaped out, twining around her arm. A smile instantly appeared on Xixi's lips. Little spear is still here. Xixi was reassured. Looking at the golden light wheel hanging in the fog, she started stepping towards the direction of the mysterious temple. The fog cleared, but the sound of the dull knife cutting meat was getting closer. Xixi glanced at her arm and widened her eyes. The hairs on her arm stood up one by one. Boom! The purple flames suddenly exploded. The next moment, the flames twined out from Xixi's arm, curling around her chubby waist to her side. Scorching heat burst forth. The purple flame fire serpent surged forward fiercely. Xixi was immediately pulled by the tremendous force, running forward. Ouch! Xixi screamed. But she could not hold back the purple flame great snake. The mysterious fog continued to tear apart on both sides, as if getting closer and closer to the mysterious temple. An extremely terrifying and oppressive rank descended and vented down. The purple flame serpentine spear in Xixi's hand jittered and danced. Xixi's whole body couldn't stop trembling. Slowly, the purple flame great snake stopped racing and obediently twined around Xixi's arm. Curious, Xixi raised her head and discovered she had appeared in front of the mysterious temple. On the staircase of the mysterious temple sat a tiny figure. Xixi widened her eyes. She looked carefully. Ah! Xixi screamed. Because the figure sitting on the steps was none other than Xixi herself. Xixi seemed to have noticed Xixi. Slowly raising her head, her vacant eyes stared over listlessly. Then, under Xixi's wide-open eyes, that Xixi picked up a sword. The sound of the dull knife cutting meat resonated anew. Blood sprayed. And that Xixi's eerie voice echoed in Xixi's ears. Bare bones for her father. Cut flesh for mother. Come. Chapter 480. 9 Dragons River Bank. Listening Fury Cliff Stone. It was quiet, so quiet that one could almost say it was silence you could hear, broken only by the wailing and howling of storm winds isolated outside. Nan Li Huo stood with his hands behind his back, his white clothes fluttering, his white hair vividly scattering in the ceaseless winds. His eyes were deep as he looked toward the river shrouded in mysterious fog. The river's surface had become thoroughly obscured, as if a dense, thick fog had risen, even suppressing the churning waves, preventing even a single rolling wave from forming. Next to him, King Taoist bent his palm, resting his whisk on it, his eyes equally solemn. Junior brother, what are you worried about? King Taoist turned his head to look over. Are you worried about whether Xixi can obtain the temple god inheritance? Upon hearing this, Nan Li Huo shook his head slightly. What is there to worry about? If XIXI doesn't obtain the Temple God inheritance this time, her talent and future potential are definitely not just limited to divine primordial. Her talent is indeed excellent, she has the potential to step into the realm of divine fetus great god. King Taoist was left speechless. Are you so confident in your little disciple? He turned around, looking at the foggy river, his deep gaze piercing, the divine fetus realm, so many yearn to reach it, yet how many can succeed? Divine element true person undergoes 3 transformations, primordial spirit metamorphosis, golden body transformation, and embryonic breathing metamorphosis. Each step is a matter of life and death, a single misstep can plunge one into an endless abyss. In this world, there are many who have reached divine primordial, yet how many can truly become a divine fetus? King Taoist felt somewhat melancholic. Back in our day, we were also hailed as divine children, yet now, you are not even a divine primordial, and it's still unknown whether I can condense a golden body. King Taoist never imagined matters taking a favorable turn. He prepared in advance, always setting his expectations low so that, when disappointment came, it wouldn't overwhelm him. Nan Li Huo fell silent. No. XIXI is different. Nan Li Huo still spoke these words. King Taoist tossed his whisk, laughing, "Junior brother, then let's make a bet. I also like this girl XIXI. If she can obtain even a single nurturing nature method, a divine foundation technique, or any ordinary secret technique from the Temple God Resonance meeting this time, I will agree." Upon hearing this, Nan Li Huo suddenly cast a strange look at King Taoist. Bet on what? King Taoist looked towards the mysterious fog enshrouding the strange K, unable to see the situation of the children who had entered it. He said softly, "Bet that, before the sect master great god recruits the last direct disciple, I will present XIXI before the sect master great god, giving him a chance to see her." Crash! Nan Li Huo suddenly turned around, his gaze fiery and intense. "Elder brother! You agreed?" Nan Li Huo had been beseeching King Taoist for days. Because he knew King Taoist could do it, but King Taoist had never agreed, so why would he agree now by making a bet? In Nan Li Huo's view, King Taoist had agreed. After all, with XIXI's talent, obtaining the Temple God inheritance was not a problem at all, the only consideration was the quality of the inheritance obtained. Thus, King Taoist's bet was essentially an indirect agreement. King Taoist chuckled bitterly, "I haven't agreed, aren't we just making a bet? Actually, junior brother, if you just go back to the divine sect and beg our master, XIXI's future would be even more secure." However, upon hearing this, Nan Li Huo's eyes dimmed slightly. "I won't go back. I can't go back." Nan Li Huo sighed softly. "Yuan Long is cultivating within the divine sect, help me take good care of him, that child is not sharp. I fear he might be bullied." King Taoist began to smile, "I know, Yuan Long, that boy, simple and honest, though a bit dull-witted, he is earnest. Don't worry, the boy's simple nature has touched an inner sect elder, now he doesn't worry about resources. Speaking of cultivation, he has already surpassed you, his master. Yuan Long is now among the top 10 of the inner sect, and the sect values him quite a bit. At the next Flat Peach Victory meeting held at the Three Pure Bazaar Temple in the Great Scenic Divine Capital, this boy will be a capable cadre of our Qian Yuan Divine Sect." King Taoist said while laughing. Yuan Long is Nan Li Huo's second disciple, who had been sent to Qian Yuan Divine Sect for further cultivation. Indeed, the fool has his own fortune. After this Temple God Resonance meeting, I plan to send Guanyin and XIXI to the authentic divine sect as well. Nan Li Huo's eyes flickered, looking towards King Taoist. "Sang Guanyin and Li Nuangzai. What about Lu Yang Yuan? Your third disciple, you're just going to ignore him?" King Taoist said gravely. Nan Li Huo paused, then slowly exhaled, "Yang Yuan, could be the young sect master of the Golden Light subsect." King Taoist shook his head and scoffed. "Doing this will hurt your third disciple. Great elder brother, second elder brother, fourth junior sister, now even the junior sister who just joined a year ago, all sent to the main sect, only he, left to manage the subsect alone. Needing to deal with the mess you left. You." King Taoist sighed, not saying anything further. Nan Li Huo stood with his hands behind his back, saying no more, his gaze fixed on the strange K. City Lord's mansion area. Luxurious carriages were parked. 6 black-armored blood guards neatly stood leading the flood dragon horses. Suhwali sat inside the carriage, with the shadow guard true person also sitting cross-legged, quietly drinking tea. The shadow guard true person's form was completely indiscernible, shrouded in rolling black fog. He glanced at Suhwali. Old prince ordered you to wait until the affair is over, then return to Jizhu together.